What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Roxora, and today we're doing the infamous set review for Whispers in the Well Set 10, the first kind of full set since the Fabled rotation happened. You know, that had 33 unique cards. We have a full set of 204 mostly new cards. There's 2 reprints. But yeah, super exciting. I mentioned in a previous video kind of the interesting designs of this set. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the not the design, but the competitiveness of the cards. Maybe talk a little bit about design. But yeah, it should be very exciting. If you enjoy the video, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Again, if you are looking for this type of content and just kind of informational content about Lorcana, this is a great place to be. And yeah, before we get into the actual cards, I like to go over my grading system. This is, again, derivative from stuff that we have in Magic, and I think it's really important to kind of say, okay, when we call a card good, kind of have to contextualize it. Again, I haven't I don't really update this with kind of card examples, but there's some card examples. But just general talking about when we say a card is an A plus, it means it's a slam dunk in every color. One of the best cards in the sets. Bs are just kind of good cards, but maybe a little bit more deck specific. C's are what we just call like the nuts and bolts of a deck. All decks are going to have some amount of C's in them. Doesn't mean they're bad cards, it just means they're just kind of functional cards. They just kind of filler cards that just need to be there. D is just kind of poor cards. They're playable, but they're not very good. They're kind of underpowered, and you really shouldn't have them in your deck unless you're doing something highly specific or, you have a theme or whatever. F is just like, these cards are actively bad, they're highly specific, they just don't do anything, or their text has never been relevant in a game, and it just kind of looks silly for playing the card almost. Like, again, I'm not trying to be too hard on people who play certain cards, but you just have to be honest when we're talking about kind of competitions like this. And then we have some interesting stuff. We could actually see some tech cards here, if I remember correctly. Tech cards. This doesn't really come up in Lorcana too much, but there are some cards that are highly specific and could be good in a really, really specific metagame. But I will say it's been almost 2 years now, and we have not really had any kind of tech cards be highly played. Yeah, besides a couple of location specific, like Hoser cards, really haven't had cards like Poison Apple or Sword of Truth, or any cards like it, do really much of anything in the game. So just keeping that in mind. So when I go through and I call cards A or C or whatever, or sometimes I give like a plus or a minus, this is just kind of a good reference of what I am referring to. All right, so I think we are going to take things by rarity, or I guess, yeah, see how Dreamborn does it. Yes, okay, so we can do it with by rarity. So let's go through the commons first, and just kind of get everything out of the way. I'll kind of bring up some of the archetypal stuff when that is of note, because there is actually some stuff, and I'll kind of skip over some of these just kind of like filler cards. Yeah, let's hop into it. And again, if I'm kind of breezing through this, it's mostly because I know that these are likely long videos and I want to make sure that they are not. So I'm going to try to skip over some of the stuff. Again, though, I was spoiled on the Fabled video. We only had to do a couple. So anyways, we got this man horse here. Oh my god, this is terrifying. It's a vanilla static character. It's like fine. It's more like a D. It's a D plus. It's big, right? It's 5'10". You'll note that with a lot of the cards in the set, the vanilla stat lines they have improved upon. Higgins is just it's a D plus, C minus. All these 1-cost 2/2 goons are kind of the same. Raja 3/4 bodyguard, so a little bit of that extra willpower on a bodyguard is nice. This is a C. It's just like a solid playable. Elonwe? I don't actually know where this is from, and I don't know what it is, but a bunch of stuff about this card is a ally and a princess, and it's got support, and it's a 1-drop. Already seen people putting this in decks. This looks like a C plus. Again, it's not quite to a B level, but it is a very good one cost card. It's a color shifted Basil. and it's no surprise that that card is seeing some play. Gurgi looks like a D minus. Just never really seen these types of cards see play. 2/6 bodyguard for 4. Had the ally stat line. Again, I don't know where these characters coming from, but perfectly playable card. Not really a great card, maybe more like a C minus. Yeah, seems fine. Shanti's a weird one where the 5 willpower is nice, but the 0 strength is weird. If there's a 1/5, that would be really good. The 0 strength is odd, and the singer 5, it's just a question of what are you singing with this, and I don't really know. But I could see play. Like, it's not like it's terrible, but the 0 strength really hurts it. The fact that it can't do anything, but again, maybe again, if it also can just get supported or whatever in challenge. So I don't know. It's not terrible, but it does look more like a D plus or a C minus than a solid C. Flash, 100-yard dash. 3 cost 3/4, quest 2, enters play exerted, and then when it quests, you can give a detective +2 strength. This one's awkward because it's not a detective. If it was a detective itself, it'd be a lot better. I could give like other detectives the buff. That would be good. Because the detectives really need the big threshold, because a lot of our cards search for the other detectives. There's this detective archetype that they're trying to support, and I think they've done a decent job. There's a ton of detectives. It's just I don't know if a card like this is really what you want. It looks more like a D, maybe a C if there is a good detective deck, just for that deck. Goofy 4 costs 4/5, nice stats. Quest for 1. When you play this, choose an opposing character gets -1 strength until the start of your next turn. It's a solid playable. It's just again a C level card. Not bad, but not really not writing home about it. Della Duck 4 costs 2/5. Quest 2. When you play this character, you can ready chosen character with boost. If you do, they can't quest or challenge for the rest of this turn. So the classic Amber mechanic, but specifically for this boost mechanic, I guess it's like kind of okay with like some of the cheaper boost characters, but that I'm not sure. Maybe we should have done. Realizing maybe we should have done some uncommons, uncommon, but it's fine. Della's Moon Lullaby looks great. A chosen opposing character gets -2 strength until the start of your next turn and draw a card. Very nice song. I was thinking that this may be able to be paired with the Sisu or something like an Amber Ruby, or just like again, it's just kind of good to just like sing this, like play a 1-drop, play a 2-drop, and then they quest, so you use this to draw a card and then challenge their 1-drop, and yours lives, and you've kind of done a little bit of a trade up, got a little bit of a tempo advantage. It seems perfectly playable, so it looks like a C level card. There's this Gurgi item. It looks like an F. It just looks terrible. Don't want it. It's even 2 costs. It's just Dinglehopper. It's just the same thing as Dinglehopper, and again, Dinglehopper saw 0 play, so don't even at me. All right, so Horn King, just a goon. These Cauldronborn. It's a very high stat level character. So maybe you could see play, but again, most Amethyst decks have way better stuff going on. Got Demona, Betrayer of the Clan, 4 cost Inkable, 4/6/1 Challenger 2, and it has the gargoyle mechanic. So again, for people who've been under a rock, the gargoyles all have this same mechanic of if you have 3 or more cards in your hand, they can't ready. Can't ready at the start of your turn. It's just can't ready, period. So kind of stone and frozen unless you have fewer cards. And so very interesting mechanic. Again, there's a ton of gargoyles and they all have that mechanic, so there's definitely going to be some kind of gargoyle deck. Be a question of like how good it is. But yeah, 4 costs 6/6 essentially when it's challenging seems pretty good. And even 4 damage on the crackback if you're worried about being challenged into. That looks like a C, even maybe a C plus. It just seems like there's a lot of these overstated characters so far. We got Magic Dispel. This does like weird thing of like shuffling cards from the discard on play. There's a couple of cards that like reference this, and I'm not sure why, but they exist. This looks like it's either a D or it is a tech card. So either like again, there is a supported archetype of these cards that do something when you shuffle cards back, or this is played as in a scenario where there's some kind of discard synergy deck going on where there you can have the Circle of Life decks. If those decks start to become very prevalent, right, they discard a big character and then the next turn they put that card into play with Circle of Life. Magic Dispel can potentially disrupt that again, and so that would be a tech card against that deck. But again, the odds that that deck becomes that much of a threat and is like the most powerful thing to be doing, and then the odds that this is even a successful way to counter that seems very unlikely, because kind of also what you would do is you would just wait to discard whatever you're trying to Circle of Life until you have the ability to discard it and play it all in the same turn. So it's not even really good in that regard. So yeah, this looks like a D minus, just or like even an F. It just looks like it doesn't really accomplish much. We got Lina Sabruing, and on play, if you have a character or location with a card, so any of the if you've shifted or if you have done the boost thing, you gain 1 lore. Not bad, right? If we have the issue is that there's so many 4-cost cards in Amethyst that do good things like that. Violet's Brewing is a nice one. Just this stat line we've had was it Surhis, just all these Surhis color shifting. It was Von Schweetz was the other one in Ruby. Anyways, yeah, it's a perfectly playable C plus, even like just a good card. Elsa here is a Maleficent, but with a little bit of adjusted stats and different tags here. At this point, it seems like the game has power crept quite a bit, where just that kind of stat line is just not really good enough anymore, and that effect is just a little bit too slow or just too not impactful. The 1/3 body really is just not doing it anymore. Even if it comes with a card, this could be like there is still the Elsa Spirit of Winter, I think is the card, right? Is the shift Elsa that could still be a nice thing, right? If you just wanted extra shift options, this is not a bad one. Right, it's probably a little bit better than the other one from set 1 that just like exerts stuff. Yeah. So yeah, just looks like a D. It's weird to say. It's like a C. It's playable, but it's not very good. So maybe C minus is the grade, but C minus minus, where it's like it's not quite a bad card, but it's not quite good enough anymore. Yeah, Mushu Bragging Dragon, love that. 4-cost inkable 4/4/2. This looks just like a C. It's like not really clear what deck wants it or what deck is really gonna put this card in the deck, but it's a perfectly fine card, right? I can't knock the card for anything, right? It's got good stats and it just quests for 2, and so what's not to like? I don't know. We got Begone, 3-cost inkable action, return chosen item or location with character item or location with cost 3 less to their player's hand. This is not bad. It's kind of just like Mother Knows Best, but a little bit more restricted. It is inkable, but it's not singable. So this looks more like a C minus. Like it is some type of interaction and tempo, but I think too many decks like Blurple are playing 4 costs and greater characters. So it seems like this isn't really going to do what you want, right? If you're playing this on the draw, it's also way too much of a tempo loss, where you just bounce. They play 1 drop, you play 1 drop, they play 2 drop, you play 2 drop, they play 3 drop, and then you play your Begone to bounce their 3 drop. and you're back at square one, right, where they just like probably play their 4 cost. Anyways, doesn't seem like it really is that good unless you're doing a whole bunch of shenanigans with this, which you again, since you can't sing, there's not really any way to abuse the card or break the parity or the limit on this card. So yeah. We got swooping strike. Swooping strike. Each opponent chooses and exerts one of their ready characters. It seems like not terrible, but again, usually with these effects, they don't often see play just because it's a little bit it's too specific and also too weak at the same time. Where it's like, if your opponent has multiple characters, it kind of does something, but it is good that this says ready, right? So that it always does something. Um, it seems fine. It's just, again, it's a little bit of too much card disadvantage, right? Where you have to be getting a really big advantage off of whatever challenge you make. So yeah, it just looks a little bit more like a D. Fragile as a flower. I've heard a lot of good things about. 3-cost inkable action. Song, draw a card, exert chosen character with cost 2 or less. They can't ready at the start of their next turn. So kind of just a nice little like cantrip that stifles any kind of aggressive character. All right, so if you're against like a deck like Amber Steel, right, and they have a lot of aggressive characters, you can kind of freeze something. It also is kind of good against like things like Calhoun, maybe, right, where you exert it, and then you can kind of quest out and do whatever. And yeah, it seems perfectly playable. C level card. Again, not exactly sure in what scenario it's going to see play, but seems perfectly playable. Next up, we got Junior Woodchuck Guidebook. It's essentially Friends on the Other Side at Home. It's 2 costs to play, 1 cost to exert, and 1 cost to banish it to draw 2 cards. So it's nice that you can kind of flex a little bit of the cost here and there, right? Where if you can fit in 2 ink into a turn, like on turn, so mainly this is seeing play in Blurple where you, on turn 6 or whatever, you play a 4 cost and you play this, and that seems pretty reasonable. And then on a later turn, if you just have 1 ink left over, you can go ahead and fuel back up, and seems really good. It also is working really well with the Tamatoa from the previous sets. And yeah, you just get an insane amount of card draw with that. So yeah, seems pretty good. Probably a C plus. Yeah, it's just any effect that draws cards obviously going to be good. Maybe over to the Emerald commons here. We got blue, 2 cost 2/4. 1 C level. I think this is meant to be like shifted on, right? Big Nose is just an Olaf. Give that a C. We got Flotsam, 3 cost 4/2 evasive. Fine, but the 2 willpower is kind of rough. Looks more like a D plus. Like, it's not terrible. It's just I don't think it's actually going to see any constructive play. We got Ka, which is just another Prince Philip, right? 3 cost 3/2 ward. And these effects are pretty good. Yeah, these, like, if multiple of these seems nice. Where you can just have a good aggressive deck and you just play all these, and it's pretty much guaranteed 2 lore. It's really hard to not get 2 lore off of this. There's a couple of the board wipes, and some of the combos under the heads held high under the sea and things like that can remove this, but otherwise, it's pretty likely that you're going to get 2 lore off of this. So yeah, this is a C. Next up, we got Webby Vanderquack. This card on play gives a chosen character +1 strength. And yeah, this is a good playable. It's nice, 1 drop. Already seen play mostly because of the shift Webby. But yeah, looks like a C. It's going to see play. And yeah. Was it Finnick is it's Cloud Kicker at home. It's 1 cost 1/2, and then you can pay 2 when you play it to return to do exactly the kit effect of bouncing a 2 strength or lower character. And yeah, that seems again very good. You can just flexible card where it can be a 1 cost if you really need it, or did I go? Okay, I'm good. Where you can get the Cloud Kicker effect. The one strength is a little bit rougher, and again, it's still a one cost card, so I can't sing very well, so that's a little bit rough, but it's still probably fine if you want an effect like that. So C minus, D plus, somewhere in that range. Vladimir does stuff with items, not really good. I mean, the base stats are fine, but again, it's just more like a tech card. Again, if there's a bunch of items in the meta, okay. Next, we got Jetsam Opportunistic Eel. 7 cost, inkable, 6/6/2. When you play this, deal 3 damage to chosen opposing damaged character. We've seen these damage stuff. They don't really work out too well unless we have enough support or enough ways to kind of put damage on stuff, and it doesn't look like anything like that has changed. So this looks like an F. It's just not really a card that's going to do anything. Launchpad is another tech card for locations. Aquila is interesting in that you can pay 1 to keep buffing its strength. You can activate that any number of times per turn. I don't know. Could be decent, but more likely it looks more like a D, where it's just kind of a little bit too awkward to use. The 5 willpower is nice, but yeah, I don't really see people using that card. Got so be it. Give everything +1 strength and banish chosen item. Not really sure. I think this card just kind of ends up being a tech card just because it probably is not worth putting in your deck just to give +1 strength. Like the banishing an item, right, is kind of a side thing. So yeah, not really interested in that. So it looks more like a D, if not in just a tech card. Yeah. Chomp here, I believe, is just a functional reprint of a previous card. Didn't we have something like this? I swear we had something like this that dealt 2 damage to a damaged character. Pretty sure. And again, just like with the Jetsam, just not really a card that really is going to do much. So it looks like a D. This is like a D. It's cheap. It's just more like a D minus. It's just not really an effective card. Peter Pan High Flyer, though, looks fantastic. This is a mini surfer. It's another version of that. It's notably a Peter Pan. So like if there's any shift Peter Pans that I'm forgetting, which I totally am. I don't remember if there's any. I know there's some in definitely in sets 1 through 4. I just don't remember if they're in core constructed still. But yeah, any kind of aggressive Ruby deck is gonna love that. So it looks like a C. Same thing there was Tinkerbell here. Everyone's really excited for this Tinkerbell. 1 cost, 3/1, quest for 1. That's got all the same tags. It could be good to shift in Ruby Steel for the big Tink. But also it's just like kind of like Captain Hook. It's just a 3 strength challenger. It's probably not going to live too many challenges, and by that I mean none of them. But just like this good character, you can play early, it can challenge and trade up, it can quest out, and it's hard to challenge back into. And then again, with any of those shift lines, it seems like it's going to do a lot of work. We got Raksha, that you can pay 1 to move this character to 1 less to move this character to a location. This just looks like an F. Just it's uninkable. The 5 strength is impressive, but otherwise, again, just like it's not that good of a card, and it's just not worth putting this as an uninkable in your deck unless you're really doing the location thing. But yeah, this looks like an F. Next we got Shere Khan. This is 2 cost, 3/3/1. So already, as I mentioned before, like they are really buffing up the vanilla stat line characters here. So again, there's this, and there's another one in Steel, that's like the Black Heron or something Heron, and yeah, this looks great. This looks like a C level card. It's just if you need something on 2. There's also a Floodborn Shere Khan. So they're just, yeah, this looks like a card that you can absolutely consider putting in your deck. That's what I mean by a C. It's not a bad card in any way. Definitely not a D level card. Rama is a 6. Oh, got to sneeze. Excuse me. Oh, okay. Rama, Vigilant Father, 6 cost inkable 6/6/2. When you play another character with 5 strength or more, you may ready this character. If you do, he can't quest for the rest of this turn. So, kind of digging into the Ruby mechanics of just like having big characters, rewarding you for playing big characters. Um, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of. Oh, that's kind of interesting that it's because they kind of work together. It's I assume these are from the same franchise, but yeah, there's plenty of large or high strength characters that you can use with this. It's just, is this enough? Is a 6/6 vanilla 2? I guess he can also quest. Like, you can quest, you play a character, you ready him, and then you challenge. Okay, seems reasonable. That's a C. Like, it's I don't know if it's like gonna be amazing, but it's definitely a reasonable card. It's not crazy in any way. Mother Gothel here is a 1 cost 2/1. It's got if a character which banished this turn, this character gets +2 strength. Oh, interesting. Also notably, there is another Mother Gothel flood shift target, right? So there's a in red green. That's kind of interesting. So I guess you play this, you wait, and then you play a 2 cost, and then you challenge your 2 costs, and then they could potentially challenge well together. It's a 1 cost. It's inkable. It's got shift lines. It's probably fine. It's just a C-level card. Uh, Nothing too much going for it or against it. It's a 1 cost card. It's not really designed to do a whole lot, right? Anyways, we got Hermes here, 3 cost inkable 3/3/1 with rush. It was a Hercules that was like this, and this is just kind of better because it's inkable. It's missing some tags and stuff like that, but yeah, this looks great. Already people putting this in decks. It's like a C plus. Just good rush character is what we need to kind of put a hamper on some aggro decks and just kind of let the metagame kind of stabilize. Bronx is a big boy. We got a 3 cost 6/4, but it's got reckless and it's got the Gargoyle Stone by Day ability. But yeah, really good stats on this. And again, already decks wanting to make use of this. So again, you have a good card to use with Rama and some of the high strength things. If there's any kind of like cards that care about having high strength, like Maximus is another good example. And yeah, people are gonna like be in a really interesting gameplay decision making of, you have this in play early. They can quest, and then you're forced to challenge into it, but then do you empty out your hand? Or if you don't empty out their hand, do you challenge into it even though it's not going to ready, but you also don't want to deal with it later? There's a whole bunch of interesting things that can happen with specifically this card, and that's really interesting. Got Brooklyn, 2 cost inkable. Oh, sorry, C plus, even like just a very solid card. Could even move up to the Bs, like the Bs. It's just good. Brooklyn, 2 cost inkable 3/3/1 with evasive, and that's known by day mechanic. It's awkward because this is not too much better than the some of the other, the Von Schweetz or the Sir Hisses of the world, right? It's 1 strength more, and that's not really doing too much. There are some gargoyle specific synergies, so maybe that's relevant if there's a big enough deck, or again if you're specifically in actually, even if you're in Ruby. I guess if you're in Ruby and you want extra copies of that type of effect, maybe this is good, or maybe this is better because of that extra willpower, but I'm just not sure. But it is certainly a playable card. It looks like a C level card, definitely. Got Brom Bones, the burly bully. 4 B's in that name there. 4 cost inkable 5/4/1. When this character challenges a character with 2 strength or less, each opponent loses 1 more. We've seen this a little bit. There's also the matchmaker, and then a ton of these cards that have your opponents lose lower on challenge. Really haven't done too much. The 5 strength is nice, but I just wonder if this is just doesn't do enough. Again, in limited, this is fantastic, but otherwise, I think it's as a D plus. It's not. It's on the. It's so close, but I'm not sure it's really gonna work out well. Ghostly Tail, exert all opposing characters with strength 2 or less. This is like they've been doing a whole bunch of cards to kind of stifle some of the cheap characters and some of the weaker characters that are more aggressive probably. And this one's a weird one where it's like I'm really not sure. I am assuming this is designed for like the Ruby Steel decks where again they want to be challenging, but their opponent's not exerting their character. So you play out a couple of characters, you play this, and then you challenge away. But the 2 strength or less is really the thing, and I'm not particularly expecting this card to do a whole lot. This looks like a D plus. It could move up to a C. I'm not too interested in this card. Oh, look who's back. It's Dragonfire. Dragonfire all the way back from set 1. I'm excited to, if this card becomes good, I'm so excited to use my my DLC promos. And yeah, it was kind of interesting how they didn't put this in Fabled. People kind of asked the question of why it's not in Fabled. And because it wasn't too strong of a card. And they didn't really give good answers as to why that was, and now it's here. I don't have good answers for why that is. I don't want to get like conspiratorial or anything. But it is back, and that is really good. It's a nice, solid, all-around card. Just kind of a good card to have. It can banish chosen character. Just that's it. And yeah, it's pretty nice. Now, is there going to be a main staple card? Probably not. And honestly, is maybe only going to see smattering of play in like Ruby Sapphire with like Shark. Like probably not at all even, right? So like not even really sure this card is going to see any play. So it's just, that's what it just means. It's like, why was it a problem for it to be in the Fabled rotation initially, and now it's here. Anyways, it is also notably at a lower rarity, so that also could be the reason why it didn't come back in Fabled, but it's here, is that maybe it was difficult to kind of slot it into the Fabled set, but now it's here at common. So anyways, Dragonfire is back, and that's good. I am happy about that. Ruby kind of, as you can see, kind of needed some love. There's some interesting Ruby cards, still unclear if it's enough, but yeah. Henman is F, unplayable. I read this card and I do not understand why that card's here. Ana is nice. It's a 4-cost 4/3/2 support. It's Ben. There's another card in the game like this. Some different tags, and notably, again, there are some Floodborn Anas. Yeah, this looks like a C. Good card. Daisy Duck as well, 2-cost inkable 2/3/1 with support. It's also a detective, and there is a Floodborn Daisy Duck in the set. And yeah, this looks fine. Again, if you want to shift on Daisy Duck, you kind of need to run some of them. So some shift targets. So yeah, just kind of need to run those. Otherwise, the card's not really that impressive. Cricky here is 2-cost 3/2/1 with alert. This is can challenge. This is a new keyword that is just kind of the old keywords. I mentioned this in the previous video, but just can challenge evasives. It doesn't have evasive. It doesn't do any other shenanigans. It can challenge evasives, period. And it's a good mechanic to have. There's a lot of problematic evasives in the format right now. And yeah, it's good. C level card, a very, very reasonable card. Love to see it. We got Rapunzel, 5-cost inkable 3/6/2. Play this character, chosen opposing character, gets -3 strength this turn. These cards usually don't really do too much, because again, you have to play this and then you have to immediately be able to challenge with it. It is notably a princess, and that's fine. It looks like a D plus, maybe like C minus, somewhere in that level. It's fine. It's just it's really not doing too much. This card I've heard a lot about. Fergus McDuck, 3-cost inkable 3/2 quest for 2, and play this character. Chosen character of yours gains reward until the start of your next turn. And so as you saw before, mentioned with you know the Prince Philip, whatever equivalent, whatever's Ka, right? So Fergus can give it to himself, but can also give it to other characters. So it's just a very efficient card, good stats, and just coming down and immediately protecting something is very nice. So yeah, looks like a C, perfectly playable card, and it's already starting to kind of make some waves. Next up, we got Li Shang, 3 cost, inkable 2/4, quest for 2. These cards really don't do too much. It's a D. Genie Investigative Mind, 5 cost, 4/7/2. It's fine. Again, I think I've seen some detective lists running it. Again, not really sure about the detective deck. Outside of that, it's a D. It's just a vanilla character. It's fine. It's got decent stats. Also back, one other reprint here is Mickey Mouse Detective. 3 cost, uninkable, 1/3/1. When you play it, you ink the top card of your deck, face down and exerted. And yeah, great card, great RAM card. Saw a decent amount of play in the before rotation, and should help out some of the kind of other decks now. It's unclear exactly because right now we're in a state of where we're playing Sail and Tipo on 2, and then skipping 3 entirely. We also have the new Tinkerbell in this, or sorry, Cinderella, not Tinkerbell, Cinderella in this set. So it's like, do we even want this? But there are some decks that want to go from 3 to 5 instead of from 2 to 4 to 6. So for those decks, those should be pretty good. Also Pleakley, so Mickey and Pleakley both doing that thing. Seems good. We got Henman's Vision. Look at top 4, put 1 on top of your deck, the rest at the bottom. This is completely unplayable. It doesn't draw a card. It's just not worth putting in your deck. F. C for Mickey. I missed that. Yeah. F for Visions. Bad Visions. We have better Visions. It's funny that we have multiple cards named Visions now. Promising Lead. 2 cost, inkable, action. Chosen character gets +1 lore and support. Like, fine, but really, like, not great. There are some support synergies, but yeah, it looks more like a D. It's not an F, right? It does do something. It gives you lore, it gives some strength. It's like fine. It's just not really that good of a card. Next up, we got Detective's Badge, 1 cost, inkable item. Exert and pay 1. Give chosen character resist +1 and the detective classification until the start of your next turn. So really, really interesting that it's the first time I think we've seen a mechanic or a piece of text that adds a classification to a card. Don't think we've seen that before. That being said, notably it is a repeatable item. It's a 1 cost item, but it also doesn't discard it or banish itself on usage. You can just continue to use this. So if there's a detective deck and it uses some items, stuff like this, or you're challenging or doing whatever, it seems reasonable. But it looks more like a D level card where, again, it's really only going to be good, I guess, if you really care about the resist or you care about items or something like that. Or if the detective deck really is that good. I don't know. We got Donald Duck Ghost Hunter, 4 cost, inkable, 5/4/1. When you play this character, chosen detective gains challenger +2 this turn. All right. So again, just like before, it's a D overall. Maybe could be a C in the detective decks. Speaking of detectives, we got Clawhauser, 6 cost, 5/6, quest for 2. It's also detective, and it's got challenger 2. Again, it's basically the similar stats to the purple Demona that we mentioned earlier, but I think that one quest for 1, this quest for 2, and it's a 6 cost instead of a 4 cost, right? So it's, again, just a little bit more of a clunky card. Again, this is just more of a card for limited. Does not really seem like a constructed card. That being said, it is a D. It's just a little bit too clunky, and it's just not clear exactly what deck really, really wants this unless you're a fully detective deck. Speaking of Francine's a little bit different, where it's 3 cost, 4/3/1 with resist +1. And it does have that Alien Detective tag, so that's nice. And the resist one is not bad. We've seen a lot of resist characters see play, and it's just, yeah, seeing play, being in play and having resist is just good, turns out. So this looks more like a C, maybe more like a C minus. Again, it's a little clunky, but yeah, the resist one is nice. Yeah, looks playable. There definitely could be some decks that use this. Next up, Inspector Tezuka, 2-cost inkable 2/3 bodyguards. This is just Simba, Kida, and all these characters. See, right? These cards do see a little bit of play. Not a whole bunch, but they can, and they're fine. We got Nick Wild, Zagoon. Moving on. 3-cost, Basil. 3-cost, inkable 3/2, quest for 2. When you play another detective character, this character gains resist 1 until the start of your next turn. Interesting. So you could, play this next turn, play like 1, 2, 3 detectives or something like that, and get some good resist on it. Is that really worth playing? It's also until the start of your next turn, so you can also quest with it. Again, kind of the same deal. D in general, C, I guess, in the detective deck. All of these, again, detective specific cards. It really is dependent on what detective decks are does the detective deck come together and work well. Next up we got Hudson. 2-cost, inkable 2/4. It's the gargoyle. Play it, you draw, and then discard, and then it has that Stone by Day. 2-cost 2/4, as we saw again, is a little bit overstated, right? Usually 2/3 is what you would think of. Seems playable. It also fixes your hand. Right, we've seen a couple, like, Yzma, right, is 2-cost 2/2 that does this same effect. But again, you do have the Stone by Day downside potential. But again, in the gargoyle deck, it definitely looks fine. This looks like a C. And again, part of that again is the gargoyle is a little bit more of a supported archetype. There's like definitely something going on with the gargoyles rather than the detective stuff. Speaking of detectives, we've got Mini Ghost Hunter, 2-cost inkable 2/3. Play, give a detective alert. Again, this actually even worse. I'm gonna go D minus. Just even in the case where there's a good detective deck, I just don't think that this is really what you want. So yeah, the Twins, the Lost Boys, 6-cost 5/5/2. On play, if you have a location, you may deal 2 damage to chosen character. This just looks like an F. It's just having a location in play and playing this, and your reward is 2 damage, 2 measly damage. When I think for 1 ink more, you can play Vincenzo, right? The big Vincenzo, and deal 3 damage and have a 3-quester. So it just this is just not it's fine. It's just not designed for competitive play. Not designed for constructed. Clearly a limited card. Headless Horseman. I didn't know, by the way, that Disney did a whole Headless Horseman thing. I know of the story, but I guess I didn't realize that this was a Disney thing. Anyways, 4-cost inkable 4/4/1 with bodyguard. This looks like a C. This is just a reasonable bodyguard, and there is a Floodborn Headless Horseman as well. There's also a villain. Just fine. Nothing to really say about it. Moving on. Let me see if I can pull up. I guess you let me open these up because they're at the bottom and they're being overcasted by my face. But I'm much faster is a 1-cost action song. I don't know why I guess since it's part of the song, it had to be a song, but I don't really think a lot of people are going to be singing this, but maybe they are. I don't know. 1-cost inkable, and a chosen character gains alert and challenger +2 this turn. So a nice little combat trick, right? You just play this and you get to challenge a genie or something like that, or an evasive character that you would normally have trouble with. It's a nice little action, but again, just like before with some of the other cards, I'm not really sure that this is worth a whole card. So it's a little bit too punishing to play. And I think I'd just rather play other characters that either have alert or give challenge or such, rather than playing a whole song. And again, just the song part is more like flavor text. It's more of just for the song part of the card, just the fact that this is a line from the song, rather than this is an actual card you're going to sing so often. So yeah, looks like a D, just not really that good of a card. Next, putting it all together, 2-cost action. Chosen opposing character can't challenge during their next turn. Draw a card. Kind of similar almost in the other way around, where if this was a song, it'd be better. I don't really imagine you're playing this on 2 ever. Maybe you're playing this later in the game. The fact that it draws a card is kind of fine. It's just, in what scenario are you playing this? I'm just not really sure. All that being said, it looks like a C minus D plus. Like it draws a card, so it can't really be that bad. But yeah, more probably more like a D plus. Just not really a great card, but not a terrible card in all senses. Yeah, so those are the commons. So as you can see, like there's already some increased power kind of in the space. So, or yeah, already you can kind of see some kind of improved of design that I am really liking. All right, so we have our first whisper here. So we have the whispers in the well, and here are the whispers. So the flavor is right that these are incomplete glimmers, and you have to complete them. As you kind of see this like cool like wispy effect. And yeah, the design of these is super cool in addition to the flavor. So this is a 2 cost, uninkable 3/3/1, so already decent stats. And it's got the mechanic boost. Once during your turn, you can pay 2, put the top card of your deck face down under this card. And then whenever this character quests, if there's a character under him, chosen opposing character can't challenge and must quest if able during their next turn. So already you can kind of see the flavor of, this is an incomplete glimmer. You play them and then they stick around, but you can kind of boost them and enable them in order to kind of bring out their full potential. So again, Gaston is just a cheap, a well-statted character initially, but then if you boost it, you're able to kind of deny a challenge on the opposing side every time this quests, and that's pretty nice coming from your 2-cost character. The problem becomes how do you boost it, or are you able to kind of wiggle that payment into your game plan or into your turns? So kind of like we mentioned before of the item, the guidebook a while back. And by a while back, I mean like probably like 20 minutes earlier into this video. The difference between like 1, 2, and 3, I think those are some of the values on these cards, is insane, right? So boost 1 is very easy, right? As you can see, with any time, think about just any time you've ended your turn with 1 ink unspent, that can be spent to boost a character. Boost 2 is a little bit more where it's like, okay, maybe you can try to boost it, but it's going to be less prevalent, or you kind of have to dedicate some kind of play pattern in order to provide that boost. And then boost 3 is like really, really tough, where you kind of have to like get a really big benefit out of whatever you're doing in order for it to be worth it. Gaston is a nice one in that it is just kind of a 3/3. Like it is just a decently statted character that can just quest. You don't really need to do anything with it. And then later on in the game, if your opponent has a whole bunch of things or has a particular character that you're not wanting to be able to challenge, like a Maui Shark, for example, right, you might be able to boost this quest and deny that. So yeah, this looks like a C. It's just like a decently playable card. It's not amazing. It's not like it's insane, but and again, I'm not really sure where it's going to end up in terms of playability, but it looks like a nice card. Yeah. And we got Scrooge on the right track. 3 cost, inkable 4/3. Play this chosen character with a card under them gets +1 lore this turn, excuse me. So you're gonna again already see again designed to be work with a lot of the boost cards. Again, still works with shifts. There's a lot of good call it backwards compatibility with these mechanics. Where again we did the shift mechanic. There's a couple of cards in the previous mechanic in the previous set that care about cards having stuff underneath of them or giving benefits or doing whatever. And now we have the boost mechanic, which functions or kind of behaves a little bit similar with putting cards underneath of them, but for different reasons. And so you can design cards like this that still work with both of those mechanics. So anyways, that being said, this is a D. This is like not really that good of a card, and it's a little bit harder to enable. We got a Webby, 3 cost, inkable 1/6. While you have a character or location play with a card under them, this character gets +1 lore. Maybe that's a little bit better, where you play Gaston, you play Webby, and then the next turn you boost and you quest with both of them. Okay, it looks like a C. It looks a little bit better, but still like C-, like really not that good, right? Where it's, by the way, they mentioned characters or locations. I don't believe we've seen a location with boost. They mentioned that in these cards, or putting cards under locations, but so far I don't believe we've seen that in this set. So I don't believe that is a thing that is relevant right now. It could be relevant. It most likely will be relevant probably next set if I know kind of how Ravensburger does things. Anyways, we got Bagheera, 3 cost, 4/4/1. Again, you got that overstatted or kind of buffing of vanilla. So looks like a C, decent static character. I got Terran, 5 cost, inkable, 5/5/2, support. When this character question, return a Henwen from your discard to your hand. And this is just D, if not F, just never playing like that with Henwen, and then the otherwise the stats of the card is just kind of whatever. Search for clues, 4 cost, inkable, action. The player or players with the most cards in their hand discard 2. If you have a detective in play, gain 1 lore. So I'm not really paying too much attention to the detective part. This is essentially just You Have Forgotten Me, but a second one, but is a little bit more conditional. It seems like more like a D plus. Again, the discard, stuff really hasn't been going on for that much. So, yeah, my guess is that doesn't really do a whole lot. Or Rewrite History is a really interesting. This is a buffing of part of your world. It's 3 cost, inkable, action, return a character. Sorry, action song. Return a character from your discard to your hand. So literally just the same thing as part of your world. Just this one is inkable and it is an uncommon instead of a rare. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That being said, is this card good? It is a way to kind of get back a really, really good character from your discard. Part of the world wasn't even that good. Like I tried to play it in a deck, but it wasn't even really that good. But it was fine. Yeah, it's a C. It's like a finding. Sometimes you can use this, but yeah, generally speaking, not really using this. Like you can tell how bad part of your world was. The fact that they made it an uncommon and made it inkable, really way off on that card. Recovered Page is sorry, I forget if I gave a grade. C, yeah, C playable. Yeah. Sorry, I did say that. Recovered Page, 2 cost, inkable item. You on play, it's kind of a Be Our Guest. You look at the top 4, get a character, rest on the bottom, and you can pay 1 and banish it to put the top card under a character location. There you can see that with boost. So now you can go and find a character with boost, play it, use this item to kind of cheat the boost cost. It also can do stuff where there's some characters that do things when you put a card underneath of them. But as you can see with boost, you can only boost them once per turn. So you can boost them, then use this to boost them again, and kind of get whatever their effect was twice. So that's kind of cool synergy there. And again, a good flavor. I've seen a little bit of this card seen play, but it looks more like a C-. It's a little bit clunky, but again, if there's enough boost stuff going on in the set, it seems fine. Webby's Diary, 3 cost, inkable item. Whenever you put a card under one of your characters or locations, you may pay 1 to draw a card. So kind of similar to the Recovered Page of just, again, working well with the boost characters. Again, really unclear if both of these are necessary or required, or what are we doing here. This seems a little bit too slow, where you have to play it, then play a boost character, then boost it, then pay 1 to draw a card, and yeah, it just looks like an F. It just seems like it's not really going to do a whole lot. Next up, I love the look of this card. Gwythaint? I'm done. I'm done trying to pronounce that. 5 cost, 4/3 to evasive. When this character quests, each opponent chooses and exerts one of their ready characters. This looks a lot better than the common effect that was in action. I think this character was on that card, if I remember correctly. This looks great. Inkable, evasive character. It's a dragon. Love that. And then again, if you ever quest with it, you get to potentially and you have a board built up, this is going to do a whole bunch of damage. So, yeah, looks like a C, perfectly playable card. Again, the 5 cost slot in Amethyst is really, really contested right now between Elsa and Belle and all the other cards in the game. But still, is a nice card to have. I'm really excited. There's the Sisu Dragon card that I was really trying to find enough dragons for. I'm hoping that I can make a full dragon deck for fun. Not gonna be good, but yeah, you know what I mean. Anyways, we got Iago. C level for that card. If I didn't say that already. Iago is a 2 cost inkable for an 0/2/1 with Challenger 5. Holy moly, Challenger 5. Yeah, this card is cracked. Just like a Captain Hook on steroids. And yeah, looks great. Again, most likely just going to take one character out and then die, but that's okay. Like 5 strength on challenge is really, really strong. Able to take out like a Daisy Duck is super nice. So if you're on the play, right, you play 1-drop, they play their Daisy, you play this, and then they're just like screwed. I love that. So yeah, definitely a playable card. C, no doubt, no doubt. Next up we got Duckworth, 3 cost uninkable 3/1/2 with Rush. During your turn, when this character is banished, you can put the top card of your deck face down under one of your characters or locations with boost. So it's a little bit weird where I guess you can play like that Gaston, you play this and you challenge into it, and then you boost the Gaston right away. Why does this have 2 quests if it's just gonna rush into stuff and die? And like it also only does the final act during your turn. This card confuses me. Not in terms of like its power level, it's like fine, but in terms of its design, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this card. Yeah, this looks like a D plus, C minus. Like its stats and its all this stuff is fine. It's just it really confuses me. It really, really confuses me. I don't know what to do with that card. Next we got Nibs, 4 cost inkable 3/3 quest for 2. When this character is banished in a challenge, return this to your hand. Yeah, this looks fine, right? We've seen a couple of these in the past, and most of them have just been limited cards, but this one seems fine, where it's 4 cost, quest for 2. Seems fine. C minus, again, just C minus, just because, again, for quite a while, these cards just have not done a whole lot, but maybe, like, again, in the post-rotation meta, this effect can finally see the light of day. Yeah. Got Nana, 3 cost inkable 3/3. When you play this character, you can choose and discard a card to return chosen character with cost list to their player's hand. So very similar to some of the Amethyst bounce cards. It was like the Mother Gothel or something like that, or the Maleficent cards that do this. This you have to discard a card from your hand, but there is the gargoyles and the stuff, as I said. So having a bunch of cards in hand might not be as necessary. So yeah, looks playable. Looks like a C level card. It's not insane, but it's fine. Olaf Helping Hand here, 1 cost 2/1 quest for 1. When it leaves play, you can return chosen character of yours to your hand. So I guess if they challenge into it and maybe are gonna do something, you like bounce it or something like that, or you can like quest with another character, challenge Olaf. You can kind of use it like a rabbit, where you bounce that character back to your hand and replay it. Yeah, so it's like a C. Already seen people putting this in decks. Looks totally fine. Merlin completing his research. 2 cost uninkable 0/3/2 boost. Boost 2, excuse me. When this card is banished in a challenge, if he had a card under him, draw 2 cards. So already 0/3 quest for 2 is not bad. It's not amazing, but it's perfectly fine. So yeah, this is one of those where you play this, you quest with it once or twice if it's safe, or if you're able to boost it, great. Or if you find other cards like we saw here with the recovered page to do so, maybe you can do that. This looks like a C. It's not a bad card, it's not a great card. Maybe, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at C because I do like the way this card is worded. Again, it only works if it's banished in a challenge, and it does have that 0 strength, so and only 3 willpower, so it could just get strength or something like that. But then maybe they're dealing with it with some kind of spell, right? So maybe it's fine, right? So yeah, right now we haven't really seen a whole lot of Amethyst decks that are aggressive. We've seen pretty much only Blurple and Amethyst Steel. If there's any kind of like what it was like Amber Amethyst was back in pre-rotation, just like the hyper aggressive decks, maybe this card could see some play in it. So yeah, C, it seems fine. Sorry, I'm talking too much about the uncommons here. We got Performance Review. Exert chosen character viewers to draw cards equal to that character's lore total. So as long as you have a character that quests for 2, this is essentially like a Friends, but you just have to pay 2 for it. All right, so you have a character with 2 lore in play. If it's got to be dry, so you play that, you exert the character, and you draw 2. So it's like you paid 2 to sing Friends. Essentially, is how I look at this card. So certainly worse than Friends, but still a way to draw cards. So it's like fine, but in all grand scheme of things, it looks more like a D. Again, you could draw more cards where it's like, you know, if it has you have a character that's gaining lore from something, then all of a sudden you're gaining an insane amount of cards. That being said, again, I still don't think this is that good. Looks like a D minus. Because we got the Great Illuminary. I guess I should open this up. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. The Great Illuminary. Got a 2-cost inkable location, 1 cost, 3 willpower, 1 lore. Characters gain exert, draw a card while here. It's been a while since I feel like we've analyzed locations, right? Because Fabled only had old locations. They didn't have any new locations, I don't think. And anyways, this one is interesting where, you know, it's low cost but also low willpower. But you could use this where you have a bunch of characters in play. You play this, and you basically get to use the kind of Dumbo thing of pay 1, move a character here, exert it, draw a card, and you just keep doing that for all your characters. So you draw a bunch of cards. They're forced to either answer this or answer your characters or whatever. And yeah, I just don't really see with this card. It looks like you can't really play this and keep it alive. So unless you meet that exact state of the board, it's unlikely that you're going to really want this card. So I look at it more like a D, but I do see that like people kind of look at it as a playable, like a C level card. So we'll see where that card ends up. There's some combos with it too, but with the Monstro and some of the things like that. But yeah, I don't think that's really where you want to be personally. We got Flintheart Glomgold. What? 4-cost thinkable, 1/4 request for 3, which is kind of nice. While you have a character or location in play with a card under them, this card gains ward. All right. I mean, I guess if the boost does its thing, boost deck does its thing, this is like a nice little ward character. We talked about how good those can be. Yeah, I think if that mechanic is good, C. Otherwise, it looks like a D, if not F. Right? It's just where you just have a 1/4/3 without any effect. It seems pretty bad. Hook Hands Vanilla. It's a D. It's these kind of its quest for 2 is nice, but again, just those stats just don't quite do it. We got Ka Secretive Snake, 7-cost, 6/7, quest for 3, evasive. Crazy stats on this card, but again, not really good enough for constructed. Looks like a D, but it is really good in limited. If you play that in limited, I don't know how your opponent is dealing with that. All right, next we got Emily Quackfaster. 2-cost inkable 2/2/1. When you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck under one of your characters or locations with boost. So this is a nice card. So now what it's talking about is now there's actually something that kind of helps you cheat on the boosting of cards. and that looks pretty good. So I like that a lot. This looks like a C, again, enabler for the boost deck. So like again, as a C in the boost decks, obviously you're never playing this card in any other scenario. Yeah, works very well with the next card here of Flynn Rider. So we got 1 cost, inkable, 1/1, boost 2. And while there's a card under this character, he gets +2 strength and +1 lore. So just like that, you probably don't want to boost this unless you don't have a turn 2 play. Obviously, you could do that. You could play it on 2 and then boost him and then quest for 2, and then he's a little bit more difficult to deal with. But you've also spent your first 2 turns on 1 character, and if your opponent answers that 1 character, so this still can be just like fire the cannons for free. That's a problem. So Emily Quackfaster is kind of good to curve into, right? Where you play your Flynn, you play your Emily, and boom, you have 2 characters on board, one of which is questing for 2, which is nice. So yeah, Flynn looks like also just like with Emily, a playable C. Flynn seems just kind of good in general, but I could see it being better in the boost. Where just having a cheap creature that you want to boost up, and you get a card under it, and all of a sudden you're playing your Flintheart Glomgolds. Oh my god. But yeah, looks playable. Bellwether, 4 cost inkable 3/2. When this character is challenged and banished, put 1 damage counter on each opposing character. And again, it's fine, a little bit too specific, and it's really even that good. It looks like a D. It's playable, but not really. This looks much better. So this is Malicious, Mean, and Scary, 3 cost inkable action song. Put 1 damage counter on each opposing character. So it works really, really well. People are already talking about this with the Prince Philip from all the way back. I guess, sorry, was it reprinted in Fabled or something? But it banishes all damage characters. Right, so you just play this. You play the Prince Philip, and boom, your whole opponent's board is gone. And also, it's just like fine to just play and just like remove some of your opponent's like low willpower characters in like Infinity with all the aggressive like Maleficence and Lilos. You can just play this, and those are all dead. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, this looks like a C plus even. Again, not quite B level. Again, we're gonna wait until the rares probably to get any B level cards. But looks really, really good. So excited for that. We got Inscrutable Map, 3 cost inkable item. Exert and pay 1 chosen opposing characters -1 lore until the start of your next turn. So another mechanic that we haven't really seen, before we've seen giving Reckless. This was fully like removing the lore. So kind of similar, but maybe a little bit easier to be given, where I don't think you could have this give Reckless. So the fact that this -1 lore means like in the early game, it stops a couple of small things from being able to get that much lore, and then kind of loses some value later in the game unless you have a bunch of these effects, or unless you have something that's also preventing your opponent from questing. So, but what I do really like about this is that I like the idea of like building up towards decks that don't rely as much on characters to control the board. Right, so Inscrutable Map, like you could see design building up towards items and decks being able to run a bunch of effects like this, and run a bunch of items, and run some more of the cards that rely on having a lot of items in your deck, and less so on characters. But I don't know if we're really moving towards that. I don't know if they want that, but I kind of like the idea of that, and I kind of like this. In terms of actual valuation, this looks just like a D plus. Like it maybe you could see a little bit of play in some kind of controlling deck, but it's a little bit too weak. Got Blessed Bagpipes here. I don't know why that makes me laugh. 2 cost inkable item. When you play this, you may put the top card under one of your characters or locations with boost, and whenever one of your characters or locations with a card on them is challenged, you gain a lore. So another card that can kind of curve well into the Flynn Rider there. And again, if the boost deck is good, maybe this could be good. Again, it still is on challenge, not on banish or on removal or anything like that. I am not sure about this card. It looks more like a D. Maybe it can move up to a higher level in the right deck, but yeah, I think for now, just a D. You got Ares, God of War, 2-cost inkable 3/3 with Reckless. Once during your turn, whenever you put a card under one of your characters or locations, you can ready them. If you do, you can't quest for the rest of this turn, which is just weird to say because you can't really quest anyways. But or sorry, really chosen character. I always think it's only, sorry, I was thinking that it was only this character. So uh maybe that's good. Where again, this is like another one of those cards that like if in the boost deck or if you're doing whatever, you can quest and then boost and then ready it, right? It seems fine. It's a 3/3 with as well. Again, we already have kind of that with the Bagheera, but again, if you want the upside of if you have some boost stuff, so I think C minus unless again the boost stuff is good. Yeah. Next up we got Katrina. This looks like a D minus. Just the 6 power is nice, but again, just the rest of the stats and just everything else is just kind of underwhelming. We got Beast Aggressive Lord, 2-cost inkable 3/2 quest for 1, boost 2. When you challenge another character, if there's a card under this character, each opponent loses 1 lore, you gain 1 lore. So again, not really wanting to boost this super early. It is just a fine statted character in general, but yeah, probably need to be doing the boost thing in order to use this card effectively. So yeah, I think this is looking more like a C minus. It's not terrible, but again, if the boost deck is good, could maybe see a little bit of play. This Tinkerbell I liked the idea of, but the more that I'm looking at this card, the less that I like it, and the more that I've just kind of considered it. So Tinkerbell Temperamental Fairy, 5-cost inkable 5/3 1 shift 3, and when you play this character, exert chosen opposing character with strength 2 or less. So this is the shift target for that, or sorry, the shift line for that other Tinkerbell that we saw, the 3/1. And kind of the thought process is right as you shift this, you play that on 1, you play anything on 2, and you shift on 3, and presumably your opponent has played a character that you wanted to challenge with this. You exert, you challenge into it, and you're feeling good. In reality, there's not too many characters now where the 3 willpower is going to have this card survive. So it's not really worth shifting, and then playing this on 5 seems weak. It also has to be 2 strength or less, so it can't even. I guess like the idea is you challenge. Sorry, the idea is you challenge with it. You exert something and you challenge and you live, but then how often does that really happen? And is that really worth putting this card in your deck for? So I think I really like the template of this card, but in practice, I think this card is just not going to do the thing often enough. So yeah, looks like a D. It's just a little bit too awkward. Again, fine and limited if you were to pull this off or try to, but yeah, not I think for constructed. Unfortunately, not good enough. This Goliath though looks pretty good. 4-cost inkable 5/5 quest for 1. When one of your gargoyle characters challenge another character, gain 1 lore, and then it's got that stone by day. So notably, this is not other gargoyles, so it itself just has this effect. So even if you don't have a ton of other gargoyles in your deck, you just play this, and it's just a 4-cost 5/5, and it does the thing. Yeah, great. C plus even, which is a very perfectly serviceable card for Ruby. This is like one of the cards that people are looking at that's like, yeah, Ruby's gonna do something, hopefully. Mulan, standing her ground, 3-cost inkable 4/2. During your turn, if you've put a card under one or more of your characters, this character takes no damage from challenges. Sure. Like asking a lot. It's like once you play it, wants you to live, it's got 2 strength, or sorry, 2 willpower, and it wants you to like, yeah, wants you to do all this stuff. This looks like a D. Not really impressed with the look of this card. Yeah, moving on. Time to go. 3-cost inkable action. Banish chosen character of yours to draw 2. If they had a card under them, draw 3 instead. So again, working more with all this boost stuff or shift or whatever. but also just the general of, maybe you play a cheap one cost character, you quest with it a couple times, and then boom, you say time to go, and you manage to draw 2 cards. Again, kind of like a weaker version of Friends, and the Diablo from in the meta, right? Just the so in Ruby Amethyst, you could banish the Diablo and you draw 3. So that's kind of cool. Um, that being said, this looks like a C minus. You have to do a little bit of work to make this card good, or kind of to be able to play it, but it does draw you cards. So it is card draw in Ruby. It's nothing to kind of brush aside. So we have to kind of look at that and see what we can do with it, and what other cards we can make usage of. Boosters Rockets, I like the idea of, but it's not insane. We play this, give something rush. Sorry, 1 cost item, if you hadn't noticed that. And then later on you can pay 2 and banish this to do the exact same thing. Kind of was thinking about this with like the bell, like, where you like play this. Sorry, play the whatever the invention, whatever, and play bell for free. Play this, give the bell rush, but again, in practice, I don't think it's actually that good. The Hitch a Ride, the second part of this card is kind of expensive. The 2 cost to give rush, it's just not really likely that that's going to do a whole lot. So yeah, this looks like a D. It's just like maybe in an items deck it could do something, but unlikely. Next, we got Sleepy Hollow, another location. Whenever a character quest will hear, you can banish this location to gain 2 lore and give them evasive until the start of your next turn. So interesting kind of setup. So maybe you can like play a character, like maybe they have some kind of good on quest effect or some kind of value that you want to protect. You play this and you immediately put the character here on turn 4, and you like draw some cards. That could kind of be interesting, like giving you extra lore and then protecting the character. It's rough if you want to play the location first, because again, it's a little bit of a slower play. All right, so probably more like you want to play the location and immediately use it, so that you can get the evasive and the lore off. There is also an action that references this. Oh, sorry, it got rid of my filters. Oh, sorry, these are my filters. Where is the? I actually don't know where it is. It might be in one of the rares, but there is also an action that gets back a location for free, and if it's Sleepy Hollow, gives you lore. So that's like a nice little combo. But I'll kind of talk about that card when it comes to it. But I think in general, both of those cards unlikely to really see play. Maybe this card sees a little bit of play, but yeah, this looks like a, a C minus D level range, where again it's unclear if you're really going to want to do that. All right, G-Hops, detective. When you play this character, if you have another detective in play, you can put chosen item into its player's inkwell face down and exerted. It just looks like a tech card at best. F, more likely, because again, you have to be playing your own items if you want to be using this to ramp, and then you need to have this, an item, and another detective in play, which is like super weird. So yeah, and then like if you are using this to penalize your opponent's items, like again, how often is that happening? So yeah, this looks really weird. Chef Lewis is just vanilla. It's nice stats, quest for a lot, but again, not really a constructed level card. So I guess D. Scuttle, though, looks really nice. 5 cost, inkable, 5/5 to ward. Again, how do you deal with this character? How do you get it off the board? I kind of like the idea of this. I've seen a couple of people including this in decks. It looks like C minus, though, more, where it's like some of the better decks have better things to be doing. Maybe this buffs something like an aggressive Ruby Sapphire deck where you ramp into this, right? You go like Detective Mickey, and then you play Scuttle on turn 4, and that's good in some way. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. It's a good character. It's just in what way does it fit into decks is a question. Jasmine, Soothing Princess, 4 cost, inkable, 2/5/2. It's got boost 2, and when it quests, while it has a card, you remove 3 damage from all your characters, and this card sucks. The removing damage and the healing stuff, just like the damage mattering stuff from Emerald, has really never done anything. And this card just really asks a lot of you. You have to play it, it has to live, you have to boost it, and then you have to have damage that you want to remove. It's just an F all around. It's just way too much to try to use. Ichabob Crane. 2 cost uninkable, O2 quest for 2. When this is banished, you can put this card into your Inkwell face down and exerted. So kind of an interesting one. Maybe there's an aggressive Sapphire deck that wants to play this, and then you quest with it, and then your opponent banishes it or whatever, and you know you get some extra lore, extra ink, so you don't have to ink from your hand as much. It is a form of card advantage, right? It is a card in your Inkwell is a card that you don't have to ink from your hand. So yeah, it looks playable, looks like a C. It's just a question of what exactly does a deck that this goes into look like. Is the question. But I do like that this is on banish and not like on banish from a challenge or anything like that. It's just, yeah, this is a good character to play. You quest with it. It's really only good, again, if you're being aggressive. It doesn't really work well if you're being reactive, because I guess you could do some support stuff, but again, I don't know. Yeah, you gotta be aggressive is all I'm saying. Pluto Clever Clue Finder, 2 cost, thinkable, 2/2/1. If you have a detective in play, return an item from your discard to your hand. Otherwise, put it on top of your deck. This is just like an F. There's just no real reason to be running this. Even in a detective deck, like again, I just don't know how you're melding the detective stuff, having enough detectives, having the detective synergy cards, and then items. I don't know how you're doing all of that in one deck. Explain that to me. Explain. America, explain. This is an interesting action. Might solve a mystery. It goes and looks at the top 4, and you get a 1 item and 1 character if they're there. And that's kind of cool, but again, kind of like with what I just mentioned. In order for this card to really work, you have to have enough characters in your deck. You have to have enough items in your deck, and you have to have this, readily available to sing or to be played and to have that work. So maybe it's more like an Infinity, where you have the 4 cost characters like Tala and Hiram, where you can ramp to them on 2, and then you play this and you go and grab an item and a character, and boom, that's a +2, or sorry, +1. And that could be nice, where those decks have enough characters and items to really make usage of this card. So yeah, right now I don't really see a deck that can really make can take advantage of this card. But I do like this, right? It's a singable kind of friends that looks at the top 4 instead of just draws 2. Again, the look at the top 4 is a little bit rough, so again, you really have to have the numbers work on this card, and maybe you have to be okay with only finding 1 every once in a while. Sudden Scare is a weird one. Is put chosen character into their player's Inkwell face down, but then they also put the top card of their deck into their Inkwell face down again. Or I guess as well. So double ramping your opponent, and this being an action, not a song, just seems very strange. Just not really something that I want to do. I guess. Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, oh, you can use this on your own character. It specifies you have to target your opposing character, so they want you to use this on your opponent. But it's just like, why? Why would I do that? This looks like an F. I just don't really think people want to use this. It's like an incredibly worse version of Let It Go. Yeah, not interested. We got Ink Runner, 2 cost inkable item when you play draw a card. So they mentioned that they're not going to be printing 1 cost items that draw a card. Turns out we can print 2 cost items that draw a card, and they just look to be just fine. In fact, this is not even really that good. You can exert it and pay 1 to give chosen character alert this turn. Notably, it doesn't banish itself. So this is a nice, like, repeatable thing. So if you're playing an item deck or you're playing a deck that really wants to have continuous ways to answer evasives, it's a fine option, right? It's a 3 cost to do it the first time, and then 1 cost to do it afterwards. And again, it draws you a card. So even if you're not wanting to use it, you can just cantrip it, or again, you can just ink it, which is super nice. Yeah, C, this is a perfectly playable card. Again, it's a question of Popsicle is really good as a 1 cost draw one. It's not really clear if this is going to be played ubiquitously. Probably not. Is my guess. Yeah. Black Heron is the card I was mentioning at the beginning of the video. Again, just a good statted character. Looks like a C. Speaking of good statted characters, we got a whole bunch of the good gargoyles here in steel. We got Lexington, which has Alert. Another C, looks like a perfectly playable gargoyle. Very nice. Again, being able to play that on 3 and answer opposing evasive characters from like the Blurple decks is nice. I know a lot of people are excited about that. David Xanatos, 3 cost, inkable, 3/2, quest for 1. When you play this, you can choose and discard a card to deal 2 damage to chosen character. So kind of like, again, with the gargoyles, you see there's a lot of these cards that want you to discard cards, and that's actually probably a good thing, because again, they all have the Stone by Day mechanic. So this lets you turn any card into your hand into a Fire the Cannons. Notably, also removes, can have you discard uninkable cards that are like stuck in your hand and aren't going to do anything for a while. So yeah, this looks like another perfectly playable C level card. Broadway here is a gargoyle bodyguard. So notably, it can come into play exerted while you have a bunch of cards in hand, and you can say, oh no, it's not going to be able to ready, but you don't really care about that because it's doing its bodyguard thing. It's doing its job. It's not questing, it's not challenging, but it could be frozen and bodyguarding, and that's pretty interesting. Now, obviously, you would prefer to not have to do that, and you want to quest with it and do whatever, but yeah, you can also just like play this as a bodyguard, like and not exert it, and then next turn quest with it, and have it protecting, and you don't have to worry about like, okay, do I have more than 3 cards, because maybe your opponent's going to want to challenge into it. Long story short, this is a perfectly playable card. It's a C. Does this really say $2? I don't know. I think it's just the set's not out yet, so I think it's just a fake or a inflated value. But yeah, perfectly playable card. C's all around. Zeus here, 3 cost inkable 2/3 with boost, and while there's a card under it, he gets +2 strength and +2 willpower. So you can kind of play this on 3, next turn boost it and play a 2 cost or something like that, and you have you've spent 5 for a 4/5 quest for 2, but you've kind of spent that over a couple of turns, and if you also gotten a 4/5 in play early. Is that good enough? My guess is probably not. I haven't really seen a whole bunch of people use this card, so yeah, this looks like a D plus. Maybe it's it's playable, but it's not really that impressive. What is impressive is this Thunderbolt, or he hurled his Thunderbolt. 4 cost, uninkable, action song. Deal 4 damage to chosen character. Your deity characters gain challenger +2 this turn. So very similar to And Along Came Zeus. The notable things are -1 damage, can't deal damage to locations, but it has that upside of buffing the deities. There's not too many deities, as you can see. There's a Zeus, there's Hercules and some things like that. There's like the Hermes and some things like that. So they do exist. It's not the main reason to play the card, but that is a nice little thing. But again, just a nice removal song. This card's definitely going to see some play. This looks like a B. We know Zeus was good. This card's going to be equally good, maybe a little bit worse, but still good. The game's afoot. 2 cost inkable action, move up to 2 characters to the same location for free. That location gains resist to until the start of your next turn. So interesting that you're giving a location resist, and maybe that's kind of nice. You have some characters in play, you play a location, and then you play this, and you protect the location. You don't protect the characters at the location, but maybe you can still do this. No, but you actually don't have to have characters to move. You can just play the location, play this. But again, my guess is that this is still just not playable. This looks like an F. It's just these kinds of cards don't really work well. You don't want a ton of these because, again, you want locations and you want characters to move to the locations. You don't want a bunch of these actions that don't do anything unless you have unless you have characters and locations in play. So, yeah, just looks like an F. It's not really something that's nice. Next up, we got the Robot Queen. In one cost item. When you play a character, you may pay 1 and banish this item to deal 2 damage to chosen character. Interesting. So I guess on the play, you play this and then pass, and then they play a character, and then you play a 1 cost and then banish this to kill their guy. It seems fine. Not really that great otherwise. Terrible top deck. So yeah, this looks like an F. I don't really see this seeing play. Like maybe some item decks want to use this, but yeah, it's a shame that if this was on banish, right, deal 2 damage, like you could like use it with the bell, or you could use it with like some other of the other like banishing item stuff to do some cool combos or whatever. But yeah, as it stands, like this looks pretty unplayable. Lastly here, ooh, sorry, keeps fiddling around here. There we go. There we go. Zootopia, police headquarters. 1 cost inkable location. 1 to move, 4 willpower, 1 lore. Once during your turn, whenever you move a character here, you can draw and discard. Interesting. So a little bit different than there was the Bayou. So a little bit better than the Bayou, but I guess a little bit worse than that. You can't repeat it. It's fine. It's a C in a deck that cares about locations. I don't think you're really going to play this on your own. I guess maybe you could. I guess that's fine, right? We have the 1 cost locations that have 4 willpower were playable for a little bit. Right, and so then this has a little bit more upside where you can play that out, and then you can play like a 1 cost or something like that, and fix your hand a little bit. But so yeah, looks like a C. It's like fine, but not insane. All right, let's move on to some of the more exciting cards. We got the rares. So we got Baloo. We got a bodyguard with support. And it looks like a C. It's fine. A playable card. Sebastian Loyal Crab though looks great. 2 cost inkable 3/3. Sorry. 2 cost inkable 1/1 quest for 3. I messed up those numbers so bad. This card looks great. Just aggressive. As we know, this stat line is very nice for aggressive decks. So it looks like a C. Ariel is a whisper with boost 1. Once during your turn, whenever you play a song, if there's a card under this character, you can draw a card. So again, as we mentioned, the boost is 1 is very easy, so you can just kind of slot this into a deck, play this, and either play this and hope it lives, or play it and boost it, and then play some songs. Sorry, play a song, because again, it is limited to once per turn. But yeah, in any of these decks trying to use song cards, this is going to be a nice card advantage engine piece. C plus, B even, right? It's just a good card. Just a nice card. Scrooge McDuck, Floodborn, Shift 4, 4/7 Quest 2. When you play a character or location with boost, you can put the top card of your deck under them. So again, this is like a very clearly trying to work with the boost stuff. Better for the kind of the more expensive boost stuff. Again, also you can play a character with boost. This puts a card underneath, and if it has any effect of like when a card is put underneath of this, do something, you can do it twice. The issue is getting this out early. Like again, the Shift 4 is interesting, but if you're not shifting it, maybe it's bad. I just don't know how to evaluate this card. It looks like a C for now. Like it's playable, but I don't know if it's really that good. I guess, do we have all of the other champions? Oh, sorry, the champions are in the rare slot. So we have there's a champion for each color. So you have the Amber champion here in Mickey Mouse. So 4 cost inkable, 2/5 quest for 1. Your other Amber characters get +2 willpower, and we have 2 more other Amber characters in play, this character gains Singer 8. So really interesting mechanic of trying to support playing where now the color of your card actually matters. Aside from just like you can play this color and you can play them in the same deck. You now also care about like how many of these types of cards do you have in your deck versus the other color or whatever. So not necessarily saying you have to be monocolored. I don't think we've gotten to that point, but certainly like this is heavily incentivizing you to play a lot of Amber characters. And so, for example, again, in Amber Steel, you could still play like the Rhino cards, because the Rhino cards are Amber and Steel. Those do count towards that. So yeah, super cool stuff in terms of design, in terms of playability. Looks like a decent card. Giving a little bit more willpower is nice. Exactly what deck this ends up in, I don't know, but it looks like a C. Gazelle Ballet Singer is interesting. 5 cost, uninkable, 3/8. Singer 7, quest 1, play this, put a Song of your discard on top of your deck. Ugh, what does it put it back into your hand? The Singer 7 is nice, but, and I guess you could use it with, Look at This Family. That sings Look at This Family for free, or effectively, but the fact that it's uninkable, puts on top of your deck, it just looks like an F. Just very unplayable. The Horseman Strikes, draw a card, banish an evasive character. Looks like a tech card again. If there's really a reason to run that card, we'll know when that time. I don't think that time is now. We got Duckburg. Whenever a character quests while here, you can pay 2 less for the next character you play this turn. So a little bit awkward of a card because, it doesn't, unless you're using it the turn that you play it, you have to hope that it survives. It doesn't have any lore benefit. On the turn that you like pay to move a character here, right? You then quest, and then I guess you get the same discount, right? So you haven't really done any ramping or anything like that or cheating. You've just set up a little bit, but again, they can just kill this or kill the character that was put here, and you kind of lose out on that benefit. So yeah, this looks like more like an F. It just is not a card that I really expect to see a whole bunch of play. We got the Amethyst Champion and Minnie Mouse. Whenever one of your Amethyst characters is banished in a challenge, you may draw a card. More card draw for Amethyst. You'll notice a ton of the good Amethyst cards, they all draw cards. There may or may not be an issue with that in the future, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a good card. And again, it's good that it's one of the other ones. This itself doesn't draw you a card. But yeah, good with like the Diablos and just all the good aggressive Amethyst cards. You just 1, 2, 3 Amethyst cards. You play this and you just keep questing, and that should be a pretty good result. So yeah, definitely all the Amethyst champions of each color look fairly playable. And this one is no exception. So yeah, C for Minnie Mouse. We got the Horn King, 2 cost, inkable, 2/2, cost 1. Oh, this is the one that says, during your turn, if one or more cards left a player's discard this turn, this character gets +2 lore. So this is designed to work well with that Magicka Dispel, right? So where you like play this, you then play the Magicka, you shuffle a card back from your opponent's discard or your discard, and then it buffs this. Is that good? Like, is that worth building a whole deck around? Probably not. Maybe they print more cards like this or kind of more support for stuff like this, but for now, this looks like an F. It's just not really worth doing. Creeper is a little bit like a Gantu from like set 8, where it's a big lore value. It's nice that it's inkable. The question is like, what deck really wants to play this? That I don't know. But it's certainly playable. For lore. Like, come on, you quested this once and you just feel great, probably. Excuse me. So yeah, looks great. Playable, not great. Playable. Coldstone, 5 cost, uninkable, 5/4, quest for 2. When you play this character, if you have 2 more gargoyles in your discard, gain 2 lore. So this is a little bit different, where it in play would almost be easier. The fact that they have to be in your discard means they have to have died or you have to have discarded them or something. So a little bit more work or a little bit more setup cost for this. That being said, it looks more like a D. Again, unless you are really in the gargoyle deck, and again, even if you are, like, do you really want this to be your uninkable? where like you draw this earlier in the game, and this just does absolutely nothing. So yeah, not particularly a fan of that. Magic Dispels Spiteful Sorceress, 5 cost inkable 3/6 quest for 2. When you put one or more cards under a location and stuff, you move damage. F. Move one damage from to the. You put one more cards on it. Yeah, F. The moving damage stuff didn't really do a whole lot outside of Bell, and then this is asking you to do that with all the boost stuff. F. F all around. Hate the design of this card. Not a fan. Ursula is a little bit better. So 5 cost, inkable, 4/5, quest for 2, boost 1. And then while it's boosted, she gets +1 lore and evasive. Great. So again, fine to just play on its own. If your opponent kills it, great. Otherwise, it's really easy to just boost this the next turn, play another 5 cost or something, and all of a sudden you have a very decent evasive quester in play. So yeah, this looks like a C. Could move up to B+. Again, the issue is that right now the Blurple decks, their 5 cost slot is super congested. And there's just like so many options there, and it's unclear what other Amethyst decks are going to be out there that would use this card as opposed to like the Elses and the Bells and the other cards in the set. So yeah, good, but maybe it kind of needs to wait a little bit for its moment to shine or to find its lane. Can't Hold It Back Anymore is a nice song. Some people are using this card already. So 4 costs, uninkable, exert chosen opposing character, remove all damage from all other characters onto that character. So you can kind of do a couple of things with this, right? So maybe like your character only has one of your characters has a little bit of damage. And if that damage were to go onto an opposing character, right, you can just move that damage over. Your newly healed character now can challenge the newly damaged character, right? And boom, you made a nice trade. Also, just being a song that just exerts an opposing character is also a nice thing as well. But and again, also just healing your character as well. Even if you don't fully remove a character, even just healing a character is good. So yeah, this looks like a C at the worst. Potentially one of the better cards from the set. And again, yeah, any kind of song that can do any kind of removing of characters, definitely going to be looked at heavily. Probably have to do more testing with this, more experimenting with it, but yeah, definitely a card to watch out for. Grimorum Arcanor. These names, I can't. 3 cost thinkable item. During your turn, whenever an opposing character becomes exerted, gain 1 lore, and your character's named Demona, that's the gargoyle lady, has rush. Whenever an opposing character becomes exerted, gain 1 lore. So this is kind of interesting if you were to go towards Demona, where whenever an opposing character. So I believe this would happen multiple times if multiple characters were to be exerted. So maybe that's like an interesting piece where you just gain a whole bunch of lore off of when you play your Demona. I will have to look that up, but I'm fairly certain that that's how that works because it doesn't say whenever 1 or more. Might need to clarify that, but even then, I'm not even sure you really want to run this because again, you play this on 3 and it does absolutely nothing. You need to find a way to play this before you play your Demona. And usually that's not really what you want to be doing with your Demona. So yeah, this looks like a C-. Like it could give you a bunch of lore, but I'm not really sure. Next up, Penumbra. Moon Alien, 5 cost uninkable, 7/6 quest for 2. It's got great stats. The question is like, do you really want to run this as your uninkables? Notably, it is an alien. There's the like Lilo and Stitch, or the Stitch like alien tags that sometimes matter. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, for now it's like a C. It's playable. It's got good stats. I don't know. We got Baloo Carefree Bear, 5 cost inkable, 4/5 quest for 2, shift 3. So this is that Baloo I was mentioning earlier. When you play this character, choose one. Each player either draws a card or discards a card. This looks just kind of like a C minus. It's like a fine, but again, the each player drawing or discarding is like a fine on play effect. But do you really want to be shifting this? And again, you're shifting onto a 2 cost, so you're not really getting that much of like an improvement. So yeah, looks just like a C. It's fine. Megara, Secret Keeper, 3 cost inkable 3/4. Boost 1, and while there's a card under her, she gets +1 lore, and whenever this character is challenged, each opponent discards a card. So this is again very similar to kind of the old version of Flynn Rider, Megara, some of the other cards in Emerald. And this is like all right again, kind of like the Ursula, where it's fine to play this, and then if your opponent answers it, whatever. And then if they don't, then you get to quest for 2 with you boost this, quest for 2 with it, and play some other stuff. So it seems like a fine playable card, a filler card. Again, that's totally fine. We got Oldie Ogult. This like steals a location card and does something against location cards. It's just an F. It's just really not a card that I want to be using. You got Goofy, the Emerald Champion. Whenever one or more of your other Emerald characters is challenged and banished, you banish the challenging character, and then the Emerald characters gain Ward. So it's really, really powerful card if left unanswered. Again, this can just be dealt with. I guess if you have 2 of these in play, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, but then obviously if you challenge one of them, then they lose the Ward. And so anyways, yeah, playable, C, totally fine. Trust in Me, 6 cost uninkable action. Choose one. Each opposing character gets -1 lore. So there was that clause I was talking about earlier. Like you could potentially use this to control some aggressive decks early, or just kind of stop them from running rampant. And then also each opponent chooses and discards 2 cards. So really uninkable, but flexible in that it can be used in a variety of different matchups. Right, in the mid-range or control matchups, you use the discard effect probably more, and against an aggro deck, you maybe use the -1 lore. C, like a perfectly playable card. Yeah, cool. Enigmatic Inkcaster, so a different type of Inkcaster. We've seen a couple of Inkcasters now. 2 cost uninkable item. If you exert if you've played 2 or more cards this turn, gain 1 lore. So notably, inking is not playing a card, but you could play this. You could actually play this. Play 2 or more cards this turn. Yeah, so you can play this later on in the game. You can play this, play 1 more card, and you can immediately activate this. That's kind of cool. Is that good? Probably not. So yeah, still probably like a D. It's uninkable. It's not really that powerful. We have seen how like gaining 1 lore every turn from something like what was the card? I don't remember the Amethyst card that did this. But that card you had to pay 1 ink to do. This card you don't, but you have to pay 2 cards every turn. Could you theoretically do that? Probably. Could you do that and keep up that play pattern forever? Probably not. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting card to look at. We'll see if there's anything like that can maybe be used here. Let's take a look at this card in a new window. Hello? Hello? There we go. White Agony Plains. 2 cost inkable location with no willpower to start, but with no lore, but 7 willpower, 1 to move, and this location gets +1 for each character here. C in the location decks. This is obviously like really good in a location deck, but again, pretty not so great otherwise. Diablo, 2 cost uninkable, 3/3 quest for 2. C plus, I think really, really strong card. Excited for that. This is like basically just Bonsai with upside, and Bonsai saw a little bit of play. Not seeing too much play right now, but certainly Diablo could. And could certainly buff up again the Ruby decks that really need help. We've got the Ruby champion, Donald Duck. 4 cost inkable, 4 cost uninkable, 4/4/1. Other Ruby characters gain +1 strength, and then the Ruby characters with 7 strength or more get +1 lore. This one is probably the weakest one. It looks like a C-. Like buffing the Ruby characters is nice. 4/4 stat line is nice, but I don't know how often you're really getting this. Like Maui Shark or some of the other, you have the 6 power characters that then get buffed up, but I don't really think you're gonna want to play that. Speaking of, we got a Eliza Maza, 3 cost and inkable 4/3 quest for 1. Well, you have 2 or more characters with 5 strength or more. This character gets +2 lore. So this is the, like, again, I think it's the gargoyle lady, and she is a detective, but probably works a little bit better with some of the gargoyle cards because they are overstated. That being said, this looks like a D. Maybe it moves up to a C if there's enough space for a card like this. Um, the questing for 3 from this card is nice. So maybe you have to play. Again, it's tough. Of how do you play a 5? You have to play a 5 strength character on 2, which is pretty hard. And then yeah, that's near impossible. So yeah, how do you have that and then play its 5 strength character on 4? So maybe you have to play this on 3, do nothing with it on 4, and have played 2 5 strength characters on 4 and 5. So yeah, it just the play patterns just don't work super well with this card. Yeah, we got Aladdin barreling through. Sure is. 3 cost inkable 4/4 boost 1. Reckless, and then while there is a card under him, your character with Reckless gain exert to gain 1 lore. So kind of interesting that you can, again, there was some card like it's a Cogsworth that kind of gave this ability of now your Reckless characters that are usually overstated, now they gain the ability to gain lore, and seems fine. Just not really that good. Like, you could use this to challenge early, and then I guess in the late game you have a bunch of Reckless characters maybe, and you just gain a bunch of lore with this. It's fine. It's a C, but not really that impressive. We got Shirkan, Fierce and Furious, 8 cost, inkable, 8/8, so very crazy stats. Quest for 2, but it's got shift. So this is interesting where, again, there was the Shirkan earlier, so you can shift this for 5. And it's got Wild Rage. You can pay 1, deal 1 damage to this character, ready him, and can't quest for the rest of this turn. So kind of like the Scar, or also the Monstro, where this potentially can just like wreck through a board. However, again, he has to continuously deal damage. So how much damage can he really deal? But yeah, see, like, we'll see. I don't really, I so far I haven't really seen this card being even thought to be used. So yeah, not too much going on there, but is a fine card. Next up, Olympus is a 2-cost inkable action. If you have a character with 5 strength or more in play, you can play 2 less to play this action, which means you play it for free. So one of the cards that I'm really excited to see if it's good enough. What does it do? It readies chosen character. They can't quest, but the next time they challenge a character this turn, they gain 1 lore. So, kind of encouraging you to challenge. And then obviously, again, it's really easy to use if you have a character with 5 strength or more. The big combo here is with Maui Shark, where if you have Maui Shark in play, it's free. You play it, and you challenge a character. You gain the lore both from playing the action and also from challenging from the action. And then you use Maui Shark's effect to get this card back into your hand. It's once again still free. You play it, and so on and so on. So that's kind of interesting. Is that good enough, again, to make Maui Shark come back? I sure hope it is, but I'm not too sure about it. But there could definitely be some uses for this card. This looks like a C+. This looks a very strong Ruby card. So yeah, definitely is doing encouraging Ruby to do what it kind of already wants to do, is have strong characters and challenge. So yeah, here's the Sleepy Hollow card. Play a location with cost 3 less for a discard for free, and then if it's Sleepy Hollow, you draw a card. I thought it gained you lore. This is like, is that really reason enough to play Sleepy Hollow? Probably, and this in your deck, like 4 copies of each? Probably not. It's more of like just like an interesting combo. But yeah, I don't have high hopes for this. So this looks like a D, and kind of again that's in reference to Sleepy Hollow as well. Yeah. So we got the Bitterwood, 4 cost inkable, location, 7 willpower, 1 quest, 2 to move. Once during your turn, whenever you move a character with 5 strength or more here, you may draw a card. So decent location with a decent enough willpower. The question is like, how often are you playing something and then immediately gaining the value off of it here? This just looks like a D. It just seems too clunky to use, especially for Ruby. So yeah, another Ichibob Crane, also in Sapphire, which is interesting. 4 cost inkable action. Sorry, 4 cost inkable. 2/4 quest for 2. It's a hero. When this character quests, if you've played a character with cost 5 or more this turn, you put the top card of your deck into your inkwell, face down and exerted. So kind of a fine card. You can ramp onto, play this on 3, and then you play any 5 cost character on turn 4 or after you play this, and you quest and you ramp. So nice. Again, kind of interesting that we're kind of seeing a ramp deck that is not a control deck. It wants you to be questing and building up ink and then doing something big. Unclear exactly what that looks like. How does this work? Is like, does this really work if you're going to be doing this and not really challenging your opponent's board? Maybe the 5 cost character that you play off of with this can be doing some challenging. It has to be a character. I wish it was just a card, right? If you just like played this and then played like Dragon's Fire and then you quested with this, that would be kind of interesting. So yeah, I think it's a C. It's definitely a fine card. It's just I'm not sure what if anything I would want to do with this. Here's that lead detective Judy Hopps. That the detective shift 4, and then during your turn, your detectives gain alert and resist +2. It's fine stats. Again, I don't know how you're shifting this or in what manner. We saw the previous Judy Hopps that didn't look that good. I'm trying to think of like the other Judy Hopps that I've seen. Not really remember them, but in a detective deck, you're going to see this, but this looks more like a D plus overall. Again, just this card is not really the card that I'm excited for in detectives. During your turn, yeah, it just looks fine. We got the Sultan. We got the Lilo, or the equivalent in Sapphire. Again, could we see a super aggressive Sapphire deck? We certainly could. I just don't know what that deck would look like. But this is definitely a playable card. It's just does the deck get built for this? That I don't know. But definitely a C-level card. We got the Sapphire Champion in Daisy. 5/6 quest for 1. Your Sapphire characters gain resist. That's pretty nice. And whenever your Sapphire characters quest, you can look at the top card of your deck and either put it on top or bottom. That I am less impressed with. The resist is also kind of weird, where we've had that text on like things like Cogsworth and stuff like that. Again, Cogsworth had ward, this is better stats, so maybe they were still worried about this. They didn't want to make this card too strong. This is a fine playable, but it's also a little bit underwhelming in that, again, I think the look ahead effect is very lackluster. Kristoff is another card that's making a little bit of waves. So we got 3 cost, inkable 2/3, quest for 2. We got boost, and whenever it quests, if there's a card under him, you do the ramp. You do the 1 jump ahead. Same thing as the Ichibob there. This one's a little bit interesting, where again, kind of like with the just the way Sapphire decks have been playing. You have the Detective Mickey, so you could be playing this on 3 in addition to having the Detective Mickey, but then again, you're not using the kind of ramp on 2s like the Sails and the T-Pos that we've been using previously. So do you kind of change how you build your deck or what you're focusing on? You can play this on 3 after Sail or T-Po and boost it right away, so that the next turn you can just play a 5 cost card and don't have to worry about like boosting this. So yeah, maybe that's something, but yeah, definitely a fine card. I'm just not really sure exactly again what decks look like with Kristoff in them. So, but definitely a C plus. Very good ramp card. Speaking of ramping, but also controlling, Spooky Side is a really interesting card that I'm very excited for. To kind of buff up some of the non blurple Sapphire decks. So I got Spooky Sights, 6 cost uninkable action. Put all characters with cost 3 or less into their player's inkless face down and exerted. So just a very powerful anti-aggressive card that also just ramps. Notably, it's all characters. So if you have your own characters that you played early, like your T-Pose, you can put those into your inkwell and you've got even more ink in addition to stifling the aggressive characters from your opponent. So this looks like a B. I'm really excited for this card. I hope that this card buffs up some of the decks that I'm excited to play more. Ink Amplifier I was interested in, except just in design, but I think it's not really that good of a card. Whenever an opponent draws their second card, if it's draws a card during their turn, excuse me, if it's the second card they've drawn, you can ink the top card. Not a weird card in that, like, it just punishing your opponent for drawing extra cards, but do you really want to be playing this card early? Probably not. So looks like an F, but it is an interesting idea of maybe you put this card onto other cards of like you punish your opponent for drawing a bunch of cards, kind of like Diablo did, but again a little bit less of Diablo stuff. Not quite Diablo, but something like that. You got Castle of the Horned King, so 1 cost inkable location, 5 willpower, no lore. Once during your turn, when a character quests while here, you can ready choose an item. Oh, so this was the people were talking about using this with like what was it called? The Lucky Dime, and kind of do a crazy combo. This is just like an F. Again, just kind of like all these cards. In order to have this card work, you have to have the location, you have to care for the character, and you have to have a good enough item that you're wanting to ready. This just isn't really going to do it. This just looks like an F. We got Robin Hood, 4 cost inkable, 2/4, quest for 2, boost 1. When he quests, deals damage. It's just a C level card. It's fine, but it's really not that good. Chief Bogo can't during your turn. This character can't be dealt damage, and your other characters gain the detective classifications. That's also interesting. Is like maybe you play a bunch of the detective synergy cards with this. This card is kind of nice because it can potentially like challenge. So you like maybe you have some cards that have the detective class, and you do a bunch of stuff with them or whatever. And then when you're ready to kind of just like if you need to, you can just send this guy into somebody, murder it, and then if they don't have a way to remove it without challenging, they have to send one of their guys into it, and presumably the 4 attack 4 power will kill it. That being said, this is like just seeing the 1 willpower here just makes me cry. This looks like a D. It doesn't really seem to do enough. So yeah. Nick Wild looks interesting. 5 cost uninkable, 5/4 quest for 2, ship 3. During your turn, whenever one more detective characters banishes another character in a challenge, draw a card. I think I said another, or banishes another detective character. This is it itself. So you can there's the 1 cost Nick Wild. You could like play that, play something onto like a detective onto you, and then shift this on 3, and then double challenge, you draw 2 cards, and boom. C. After all that, though, it's fine. Again, the detective stuff, not really sure how good it is, but again, this looks like a bigger reason to be detectives than anything I've seen. Oh my goodness. This is Mayor Wind Dancer. 4 cost uninkable, 5/7 quest for 1. This thing is huge. Definitely playable. Again, in what deck, I have no idea, but definitely playable. It's 5 willpower, 5 strength, so it could be in like the Ruby Steel decks. Just like a big character that just wants to be challenging. So yeah, C plus even. Like I think there's just so much stats on that card. The Steel Champion and Pluto. During your turn, whenever one of your other Steel characters banishes another character in a challenge, gain 2 lore. Nice. That is just like the Mushu. It is just as good. And then whenever you play another Steel character, you can banish chosen item. Less good, but again, 5 cost, 5/5, quest for 2, perfectly serviceable. And then that that on play, kind of an on play effect of like you have some steel characters, you have like a Calhoun, like you play this, you play a Calhoun, and then later on in the game you play this, and you challenge once, and it's like boom, you just got 4 lore, and then this is still in play. Yeah, it seems very strong if you're able to pull that off. So yeah, C definitely a perfectly playable card. The Sword of Hercules looks just like a not good card. It banishes a deity on play, and then does a similar steel thing of giving you lore whenever you challenge. But again, not really playing that unless you're really digging into that. And so yeah, this just looks like a D tech card if you're playing against deity stuff or whatever. Yeah. Ingenious Device, 3 cost uninkable item. Exert, pay 2 to banish it to draw discard, and then also during your turn when this is banished, you get to deal 3. So it's a little bit awkward to use, but it can kind of fix your hand and be a removal spell. It's like a fine. It's like a C. It's just not really that efficient. Then we got this. Oh, let me pull it up. We got this Castle Wyvern. 2 cost, inkable, location, characters gain challenger, +1 resist. It's fine. Oh, this is the Maui's place, Palace of Exile or whatever, but better, right? So that really didn't see a whole lot of play. This could maybe help a little bit. The lore is nice. Challenger and resist. It's fine. Yeah, it's a C. It's playable. If there's a location deck or if there's enough of a reason to play it, you could see some play. Yeah, cool. All right, let's take a look at the super rares. So we got a bunch here. Mowgli. Sorry, I'm gonna speed up because this is taking freaking forever. Again, when I'm serious, like I think this was already getting to the 2 hour mark. Apologies. On play, Mowgli does the bare necessities. It's fine. C, B even, like it's a good card. We've seen that effect be good, and this is on a body, so it's nice. Simba kind of does the Mufasa thing, so this is the big boost 3. And then whenever you put a card under him, you look at the top card. If it's a character, you play it for free. Obviously comes in exerted. You could potentially use this with the Scrooge and some of the other boost stuff. If this is the boost card in the set, like if there's something that's going to be built around boost, it's going to be this. So, but otherwise, it's just a C level card. It's very expensive, and it takes quite a bit to really use the card. It's unclear if it's going to be strong enough. Goofy here is a 8 cost, 5/7 with shift 3. Shift 5, quest for 3 when you play this character, and when he quests, opposing characters get smaller. So I guess if there's that other Goofy and you made things smaller. So this one just like does that, puts your opponent's entire board, and just can do that every turn. It's fine. Just a D. It's just very expensive, and typically that's not really that good. Horn King is an early shift that you could potentially do. 3/4 quest for 2, and then when one of your other characters is banished, you can turn that card to your hand, then choose and discard a card. So kind of like in the Amethyst theme of if you have a bunch of cards in hand, you're drawing a bunch of cards, you're doing whatever, there's the likelihood that you get whatever that card was back. Or if you are empty-handed or you don't have a lot of cards, it's unlikely. So it's kind of a win more card where if you have this in play, your opponent's wanting to challenge your characters, and you have a bunch of cards in hand, you're doing great. But again, it's like, is that really that good? Yeah, this seems like a C. It's like a fine thing to shift. It's like a fine thing to play after you've gotten a big board and you have a couple of cards in hand. But yeah, otherwise I'm not too sure. Magic of Dispel is a really weird one. So this is a 7 cost, uninkable, 7/7, 1, shift 7, and then if you use shift to play her, you get to draw 4 cards. So, probably wanting to play this over a cheaper Magic of Dispel, definitely. Not itself. It's not like you play this and play it again. This looks like, do I want to say F? It's like, yeah, probably an F. It's just like, it's very, very bad. It's uninkable. You have to have a magic spell, and then you have to pay the full 7. You don't even get really that much of a discount. And all you do is draw some cards. Like there's just better ways to do that. In my personal opinion. So it just looks like an F. Maybe it's D more likely than that. Yeah, you could do it, but do you really want to? Cheshire Cat's great. This is essentially just an upgraded Bell Accomplished Mystic, where it moves less damage, but it's able to do it over and over. So this is boost 2, and this is the one of the cards to say like when you put a card under this character, move some damage. So yeah, this is great. Where you can just like play this early. So in Strength of Raging Fire decks, right, Amulet of Steel, you can play this early as your 3 cost and strength some stuff with this. So yeah, looks like a B plus probably, where it's just, that this is already seeing play as one of the more playable cards. Scrooge McDuck, on play, you draw and discard, and then on challenge, when this character is challenged, you put it back into your hand. So it makes it really difficult to remove through challenging. There are some stuff where you could like, I guess, like deal damage to it or move damage onto it through like the Mother Gothel or some things like that. But generally, otherwise, challenging it doesn't actually banish it. It just bounces it, and you have to deal with it through some other means. So yeah, this looks like a C plus, very sticky, difficult, hard to deal with. Fixes your hand, so if you have a bunch of uninkables like itself in hand, you just discard them. So yeah. Little John, 4/5, quest for 3, boost 3. When you put a card under this character, ready him. So again, expensive boost cost, but paying 3 to just ready this character after you quest with it seems pretty reasonable. And then again, there's like maybe some other shenanigans you could do with it, where you quest with it, boost it, and then you play another card that puts a card under him. So yeah, this looks like a B minus, C plus. It's definitely a playable, like it's something, a card that you could do some crazy shenanigans with. Again, the boost card mechanic, I can't stress this enough. The boost mechanic needs to be played. Potion of Malice, 3 cost, uninkable, exert and pay 1 to put a damage counter on chosen characters. That's nice. So there's where like, this damaging mechanic could potentially be good. Where now you have a card that can easily put damage on stuff. Exert and banish this, and each opposing damage character gains reckless until the start of your next turn. So this is even more interesting, where if your opponent has a bunch of reckless stuff, you can also combine this with the whatever it is, the action, the song that puts up damage on everything. So you combine that with this, and then boom, your whole opponent's whole board has reckless. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, this looks playable. It doesn't look great. It's a C. Again, items always have such a higher bar to clear, but it definitely does a lot of things well. David Xanatos, 6 cost, uninkable, 5/5 quest for 2. During your turn, whenever one of your characters is banished, draw a card, and when this character quests, chosen character gains rush this turn. So this is a little bit of a weird one, where I guess you play it, you challenge a bunch with your other characters, draw some cards back up, and then on turn 7 or whatever, on 7 ink, you play a big character, quest with this, and give it rush. And give your big character rush and challenge with it. A lot of people I see putting this deck, I've seen a lot of people putting this card in their decks. And I don't know if I'm convinced on this. This looks a little bit clunky in my opinion. Again, the fact that it draws cards is nice. During your turn, whenever one of your characters is banished on card. So it does count itself. That is, it doesn't say other. So it can just challenge into something and draw some cards. So yeah, it seems fine. Yeah, I'll give it a C plus. It seems like it can do something, but I'm just not sure how good it is. Hans here is making kings and queens unable to quest. I'll have to see what kings exist. I actually don't know, but I know there's plenty of queens. But yeah, at the start of your turn, if your opponent has 2 or more ready characters in play, gain 2 lore. So I guess if you have this out and your opponent has a bunch of kings and queens in play, they can't quest. If you don't exert anything, they can't challenge. They can sing, I guess. Right? So then, yeah, that makes it difficult to do the thing. I guess also if you just have this in play and they play two characters, it's their characters enter ready and then they pass, and then it's at the start of your turn. Your opponent has played two ready characters, so that's kind of interesting. Is that good enough? I don't really know. Again, I've seen both of these in a variety of different lists that I've been looking at, and I'm just not convinced. So, C again, they're could be included again. I just don't know if this is really what Ruby wants. Lady Tremaine, I love. I love this action theme. I really hope that like some kind of action theme deck like does something. Right now, so many of the cards are uninkable, which is really rough. So, anyways, Lady Tremaine, 5 cost uninkable, 5/4 quest 2, a boost, and whenever this character quests, if you put a card under her this turn, and you have an action in your discard that costs 5 or less, you can play that action for free, and you put that card on the bottom, kind of like the Max Goof and some of the other cards that kind of replay actions from the discard. They obviously make it so that you can't just repeat it over and over. But yeah, basically paying 2 to kind of hopefully play a big 5 cost spell. You have to already have the card in your discard. So like I was trying to think of like using this with something like Dragonfire. It's a little bit awkward with a card like Dragonfire, not only because it's also an uninkable card, but like you play the Dragonfire, and then next turn you play the Tremaine, so because you're playing it on 6, and then next turn, yeah, it's just a little bit awkward. So I'm sure that there is a deck that could use it. I'm just not really sure what it looks like. Right now, it's just going to be a C for me. This card, I was initially hyped about, but it's a little bit awkward. So 5 cost uninkable, 6/5, quest for 2, boost. And kind of like Lady Tremaine, boost is kind of acting as an activated effect here, where you enable the card. So this is whenever you put a card under this character, an opposing character gets -5 strength. So again, you play this, and the next turn you can, if your opponent has a character that you want to challenge, you can boost this, reduce the strength, and then you can probably challenge and survive, and that's pretty nice. But again, it's just a little bit awkward. You don't really want to be playing this out. So yeah, this just looks like a C. It's like fine. Could see some play, but again, right now, like you're not really wanting to play this as a 7 drop, right? And have like another character. That'd be a lot. I guess like what 4 cost character? Sorry, what 6, 5 or 6 characters, or whatever cost characters you're using for this. I just don't know. Judy Hopps, 4 cost inkable, 3/3 quest for 1, and like when on quest or on play, looks for detective cards to put into your hand. And so again, just like with all these cards that are highly archetypal, in the detective deck, this card's gonna be great. But otherwise, I don't know. So C for now. But again, could improve. Fairy Godmother's 1. I don't remember seeing this card. During your turn, whenever you put a card into your inkwell, chosen princess character of yours gains ward until the start of your next turn. So interesting. So I mean, it's just a protective card. What princess are you playing on 3 with this? I guess Tiana. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, you have like Aurora. So there's like Aurora and all these other characters that give wards. So yeah, but again, during your turn, so it also can be multiple times if you are able to ink multiple times. Interesting. Like if the princess deck has been kind of getting a little bit of support here and there, right, with the Aurora and with this. So like you could see something. But for now, this looks like a D. But again, you could convince me otherwise. Here's a Headless Horseman. So this is the card I was mentioning before. 8 cost, inkable, 5/7, quest for 2, ship 5. We play this, each player draws 3, then discards 3 at random, so it could have some kind of messing with your opponent's hand potentially. These kinds of effects tend to do that, right? Where, again, no one's going up on cards, but you could potentially fix your hand and hurt your opponent's hand, or vice versa, so just be aware of that. But then you get to choose an opposing character and deal 2 damage to them for each action card discarded this way. So I believe this is like a 2-parter a little bit, where you get to see the cards that you discard first, and then decide which character you want to point the damage at, because otherwise you wouldn't know if you're going to be able to challenge it, like, or to banish a character, right? So like, there's a 6 willpower character, and there's a 2-cost willpower character over on the side, and it's like, well, I would love to murder the 6 willpower character, but I don't know if we're going to be able to discard enough actions. So I presume that you wait in order to discard enough cards in order to do that. So if assuming that's how this card works, it's kind of a nice control card. Again, the other Headless Horseman card was pretty decent, so this card looks kind of the same. Fine to kind of shift early, kill something, challenge, and kind of kill two birds with one stone, or play this later and kind of use this as like a mini Maleficent Dragon or something like that. Assuming you have enough actions in your deck, or your opponent has enough actions to do the thing. And again, Quest for 2 is also like fine. So yeah, this looks like a C+. It looks definitely playable. I'm just not sure if it's really going to be that strong. Fairy Godmother Magical Benefactor does the boost 3 thing and banishes an opposing character, but then replaces it with a top card of their deck if it's a character or item. Otherwise, they put it on the bottom of their deck. So like, kind of a potentially disastrous where you banish something, but then they end up with either the same thing or something better. It depends on what you're banishing with it, right? If it's a huge character, the odds are your opponent's not going to have so many of those left in their deck by that point. So maybe this is interesting, but I don't know. This is kind of weird where it's like, usually these effects are not very good, but again, it just depends on how decks are built. But yeah, my guess is that this is looking like a D. It's just not very good, and you kind of want to steer away from cards like this. Next, sorry, let me look at this. Got Illuminary Tunnels, 3-cost inkable locations, 6 willpower, 1 lore, 1 to move. While you have a character here, this location gets +1 for each other location you have in play, and while a character's here, you pay 1 less to play locations. So again, in the location deck, this seems fine. Give it a C. All right, off to the really important cards, the legendaries. A lot of the legendaries here look very, very strong. So we've got Rapunzel here with support, and then whenever a character is chosen for support, until the start of your next turn, the next time they would take damage, they take no damage. So this is going to be used both offensively and defensively, where you can support, have a character in play that you want to challenge, and yours is guaranteed to survive, or you kind of use this as a bodyguard where it lasts until the start of your next turn, so you can quest with something, and then that thing is protected, and then you just quest out or whatever. So again, in the princess deck, there's a lot of these interesting princess cards that are popping up here and there, and yeah, seems definitely playable. I don't know exactly how strong this card is because it's a little bit of a weak stats, right? You're not getting a big benefit out of the support unless you are supporting it before. You use another support character to support it, and then you support, I guess, a third character. So I guess if you do that, by the way, Rapunzel is protected well because it's not once per turn. So maybe that's good. You go like the 1-cost princess that we saw earlier, with support, or like a Basil or something like that. So you play like that. This, wait to quest until you play like a 3-cost character, and then yeah, your Rapunzel protects your 1-cost, and then the 1-cost protects Rapunzel, and then you just like move on from there. Huh. That's kind of interesting. And again, obviously it's just the first instance of it. So, they just have to challenge Rapunzel twice, or remove it with some other effect, right, or anything like that. So, again, it's not unbreakable, but that is kind of interesting, for some kind of aggressive questing deck or something like that. So, yeah, cool. B, like, it definitely is a powerful card. Black Cauldron is a little bit of a different card. It's on a completely other end of the spectrum, where it puts cards from your discard under this item, and then you can later on exert it to play those cards from under the item. You still have to pay all the normal costs. Doesn't play them for free, as you can see. So this is just like a really slow value piece, which is really nice that Lore kind of has this. It's just right now this is uninkable, and it's unlikely that we really enter a metagame where this card is super, super important, but we'll see. And also, even if we did, you remove this with like item removal and you just cry. So yeah, I'm not too sure about this. This looks more like a C minus D probably for now. Again, it's not a terrible card. It's just not really a card that's going to see play right now. So onto probably the most powerful card in the set, Demona. 6 cost, inkable, 5/6 quest for 2. When you play this character, exert all opposing characters. Then each player with fewer than 3 cards in hand draws until they have 3. So everybody ends up with at least 3 cards, and that's relevant for that Stone by Day mechanic. Right, so if your opponent has gargoyles, the point is that this is like an anti-gargoyle card, where you force your opponent to draw back up to 3 cards and exerts their gargoyles, and so then those characters don't ready. Outside of that interaction, this is just, it draws you back up to 3 cards if you're empty-handed or if you have low cards, and it also allows you to exert all your opposing characters, and you can do a bunch of challenges. So already this card is like, as you can see, it's like pre-ordering for like $50 and is probably the best card in the set. So obviously, to no surprise, it's an A. Exactly what ratios or what types of decks this card pushes, we're going to find out. But yeah, definitely the card of the set, which is really interesting. Kind of on the same line, Hades is also very good. So 5 cost, inkable, 3/4 quest for 1. When you play this character, you may choose an opposing character. You either get to draw 2, or that character's player chooses to put that card on the bottom of their deck. So classic, like kind of Hades like deal making, as looking for a deal here. Love the kind of the flavor of that with Hades, but then also a flexible card in that your opponent gets the choice, but presumably both of these modes are good for you in some way. Either you're removing a character, or you're drawing 2 cards. Most of the time you're going to probably be drawing 2 cards, because most of the time you're going to be playing this and hoping to remove and choose a bigger opposing character. You're not going to really want to be satisfied with choosing a smaller character. Even if your opponent chooses to remove it, you just kind of like, yay, I got rid of their Diablo. Cool. Or their tiny dude. Not really what you're going to want to do. So most of the time you're going to choose a higher value character, and most of the time your opponent is going to say, yeah, no, go ahead and draw 2 cards. So yeah, just be aware of that. But still, both of these cards, as you can see, all of the Amethyst cards that are likely to see play, just do something where they draw cards. So yeah, another A. Maybe A minus. Like, it's definitely obviously not as good as Demona, but still quite good. So yeah. Shere Khan is 6 cost, uninkable, 5/4 quest for 2. It's got evasive. When it quests, you can banish chosen opposing damage character. Then you can put 1 damage on another chosen character. This is a really wild card where, like, if you are successful in damaging 1 opposing character, you can kind of just like get the chain off where you put damage on something, you quest with this, you banish the character, and then you put a damage on something else. And then assuming this lives, right, you can just keep doing that. Obviously, if you run out of, your opponent runs out of characters, then right, you don't get a chance to put damage onto something. So then the chain kind of stops. But again, then your opponent has no characters in play. So yeah, in terms of cards that I've seen that do stuff with damage characters that are good, this is the best one I've seen. Does that make it so this is playable? It's also uninkable, but it is also evasive. So there's a whole bunch of things to think about this card, but for now I'm giving it a B. It could make that deck good enough, but for now we don't quite know. Here's that Webby. It's kind of like the core story card in the set, right? Again, the Webby seems, I don't really follow the story, but the Webby seems to be doing something interesting. 4 cost, inkable, 2/4 shift 2 with ward. So the ward on this card is very strong because again, Webby can come out. This card can come down as early as turn 2. And then when this character quests, if an opponent has more cards that are inkwell than you, do the 1 jump ahead. Right, so yeah, kind of penalizing your opponent for your Sapphire opponents for like ramping super heavily, or if you just like have gotten a little unlucky, don't have quite as many inkables or something like that, this can catch you up or something like that. Also notably, one of the good cards on the draw, right, where you can play this onto and hold it or quest with it if it's safe, and then your opponent quests or sorry inks to 3, and then boom, you can quest with it, get your extra ink, and then ink for your third turn. So yeah, looks like a probably an A. Again, A minus. Like not again. I'm comparing everything to Mona. I know it's tough. Like I'm just seeing Demona right there, and I'm like, yeah, it's not good as good as Demona. But obviously not really too much in this set is. So yeah, but still quite good. Hercules, 4 cost, uninkable 5/3, quest for 2. Can't be dealt damage unless he's being challenged. So notably, it's like if your opponent tries to strength this or something like that, doesn't work. He has to be challenged by an opposing character. And then while this character is exerted, your other hero characters can't be damaged unless they're being challenged as well. So I'm not really sure if this like makes like an aggro Ruby like Hercules, or like yeah, I guess it like wants to be like you play them out, your opponent can do anything about them, and then they can't really exert, and so then yeah, and then I guess you just wait until you quest out or whatever. I'm not really sure, but it's good, right? It's certainly can be hard to deal with, right? It I guess you have this ready, and so then your opponent can't really deal with it outside of like some kind of Dragonfire effect or something like that, right? Or if they exert it with like an Elsa or something like that, right? Because they can't just like strength it, so it seems very good into steel. And then obviously like they can't, yeah, if they just exert their characters, you just challenge into them and you're safe. So yeah, looks like a B. Just not quite sure how good that effect is, and again, you need maybe the hero version of the deck is good. There's a bunch of heroes. Who knows? The Headless Horseman, 5 cost, uninkable, 4/2, quest for 2. When you play this character, banish chosen opposing character with strength 3 or less. Love that. So brawl on a body, quest for 2. Love that. Great. Already probably playable. We have to figure out exactly what we can do to maybe if there's any kind of strength reduction, or like any like what other targets in the meta. Again, Genie is like a big one. Some of the other like aggressive characters, but then also there's during your turn, whenever an opposing character is banished, each of your characters get +1 strength this turn. So it's kind of self synergy there, right? So you have some other characters, you play this, you banish a character, your other characters get buffed and presumably can take out more characters. So love that. Oh, sorry. Also notably, whenever an opposing character is banished, so you take out one character, your guys get buffed. Another one of your characters takes out another one of your opponent's characters, and they get buffed again. And so that's really interesting. Yeah, probably A. Like probably one of the easiest to use like Ruby cards. Maybe an A minus again, just a little bit restrictive in like what it's doing, and again, it is uninkable. Yeah. Daisy Duck, Paranormal Investigator, 6 cost, inkable, 4/6, quest for 2, ship 4. It's got support, and it's got that detective stuff. And while this character is exerted, cards enter your opponent's inkwell exerted as well. And so that just kind of means, again, you slow down your opponent's ink development, so they can't always like play on curve. So presumably you shift this out on 4, right, and they are on on the play, and you're on 3 ink, and your opponent's on 3 ink. The next turn, if they ink, that one card that they put into inkwell is exerted, and so they only have 3 cards, three ink worth of stuff to play. So yeah, just kind of making your opponent's curve a little bit awkward potentially, and again, also just that support keyword is becoming more and more prevalent. So yeah, looks like a B. Looks like a fine inclusion. Again, just right now, I'm not really sure what the aggressive Sapphire decks are looking like. Very excited for this Cinderella. So this is 4 cost, uninkable, 2/3, quest for 1. At the end of your turn, if you played a princess this turn, you may put a card from your hand into your inkwell face down to draw a card. So when I first evaluated this card, I completely missed that last 4 words. And I was already excited about this card. I was like, okay, cool. You like curve into this, like you ramp on 2, you play this on 4, you ramp again. The fact that this also draws you a card, this is essentially, again, another version of Sail the Asurite Sea, right? Or like a similar effect like this, right? Where you have to put the card from your hand in first, but then you immediately get rewarded with a new card. And it can also be, the card that you put in can be uninkable. So yeah, the fact that this enables itself, right? It comes down, it happens at the end of your turn, but you immediately get to do this, is super good. And again, you can even get multiple with this. So if you play, they're good in multiples. That's a sign of a good card like this, where you play one, you ramp a little bit, you play the second one, and you get to do with this twice because they both have seen that you have played a princess that turn. So yeah, this looks like an A. We have to think about, again, kind of what are we ramping up towards? How do you build your deck with this card in mind? All things considered, but yeah, still very excited to use that card. Next up, we got Goliath. 6 cost, inkable, 6/5, quest for 2. At the end of each player's turn, if they have more than 2 cards in their hand, they choose and discard cards until they have 2. If they have fewer than 2 cards in hand, they draw until they have 2. So, yeah. So a lot of text on this card, a lot of confusing, and sorry, also has the stone by day. But essentially, every turn, whoever's turn it is, right, you're going to end with 2 cards. If you have more than 2 cards, you discard down to 2. If you have less than 2 cards, you draw up to 2. And again, that's really good for the gargoyle stuff. So he's the gargoyle clan leader, right, or whatever, and so he's able to activate the gargoyles much faster than some of the other cards, while also letting you keep up on cards if you run out of cards, right? So kind of like the docks of the world are kind of a similar to dock. This is kind of replacing that, where you curve out to this, you play this, and you draw up to 2 cards, and it also has the kind of side effect of if your opponent is playing Blurple or doing whatever, and they're drawing a crap ton of cards, and you play this, and they don't deal with it, they're forced to either play more cards or discard down to not a lot of cards. So yeah, looks really, really strong. Probably an A, probably, again, one of the best cards for steel in this set. So yeah, A+. A+ if I had to say. This card, anyone, not so much of a banger. 7 Prince Charming, 7 cost, inkable, 3/10, quest for 2. Crazy stats, crazy numbers on this card. Got bodyguard, and it says each turn only one character can challenge. So kind of a weird thing where if you play this and your opponent can't immediately remove it, right? How are you getting through that 10 willpower with just one character? Spoilers, you're not. So, but the question is, this is a 7 cost character. In what scenario are you playing this? Because it is also a symmetrical effect. So, yeah, if you play this and your opponent finds some way to turn the tides and starts getting ahead, and this thing is still on board, you're not going to be able to challenge with anything except for one character. And yeah, that's pretty rough. I will say, I believe we do know this, that protective presence like effect becomes relevant after this, where after this is in play, where if you challenge with a bunch of characters first and then play this, it works better, where you can, like, you can do that. I guess, like, yeah, you could just do that. You could challenge with a bunch of characters first, then play this, and then presumably you're winning the race, hopefully. But yeah, in terms of, like, how are you getting this in play in an aggressive deck like that, or, like, if you're not doing that, like, in what realm are you, in what scenario are you playing this and it's doing well? I don't know. It looks like it is not being run up, being experimented with in a ton of decks. Dreamboard does not have a lot of references to Prince Charming builds. So yeah, my guess is that ends up being more like a C. It's like a fine card, but really not a card you're going to be jamming a whole bunch of. So, all right, that looks to be every single card in these sets. We did all these again. I'm not going to review the epics and all this stuff, like the iconics and everything. Again, just talking about the cards themselves, not talking about the art or anything. And yeah, a lot of really interesting designs that may or may not see play, but individual cards, again, like this alone, what that card. Again, the names of this set are just killing me. A couple of things like that here and there, the Gwynthal, the Iago, and some of the Demonas and things like that, Cheshire Cat. So a lot of cards that, while whatever mechanic they may be referencing might not be the strongest mechanic or built around or have a whole synergy or whatever, Diablo, just scrolling through here. There's plenty of cards that are gonna see play and kind of shake things up. Hermes, Goliath, right? So all of these cards, Tinkerbell, right? So we'll definitely be seeing the impact of this set in a different way than kind of Fable did, where Fable, again, there was only a couple of new cards. I think this set is going to be a fantastic shakeup to the existing metagame. I think a lot of people have been talking about that. So yeah, really excited for that. Hopefully this video was enjoyable. If you got to this point, I hope you are sane. I know I'm not. But thank you so much for sticking through with me. I know when I get into this, like how long these can be. So, but I do really want to be able to give people my opinions on every single card so that they don't kind of waste time. Even though you probably waste a little bit of time watching this, but don't waste time kind of thinking about working with cards that are probably not going to work to begin with, and spend more time looking at some of the cards that are going to have more effect. So, hope that was helpful. If it was, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.